Hello, everyone, and welcome to Giant Slayer Fight Night Legends, brought to you by Wisdom. I am Blevins, sitting in the host desk this week, joined by the one, the only. Shout-outs to him and no one else. It's Boulevard. What's up, buddy?
I'm doing good, Blevins. How are you this fine Monday evening? First Monday fight night for me.
Evening. Yeah, it's I mean, I'm used to it at this point. It's a fresh start to the week, and we get to close out the week with Fight Night EU, so that's always fun. But I'm feeling good here. We got a couple of new players, couple of new decks here. It's looking pretty good for tonight. But Boulevard, let's jump on in to that format. Let's take a look at the format we're going to be playing tonight. Of course, this is the brand new, and by brand new I mean it's months old at this point, but it's still new in my mind. Format for Fight Night. We're playing the same format as the seasonal. Still double elim with 8 invited players and best of 3 matches. Then we're doing Riot Lock, just like the seasonals here. Of course, we will have the bracket resets if needed, but the players are going to be playing for their share of that $200 prize pool. But Boulevard, let's take a look at those players that we've got tonight on the bracket.
Absolutely. We are looking at What Am I, who has been on an absolute tear lately. I think he's won like 5 tournaments in the last month or so. Zach TCG, Skathis versus Monte Cristo. Returning, for the 4th or 5th time, Floppy Mudkip going to be up against Sam Sands, and then, of course, Infina Patrons rounding it out against BNT.
Yeah, this is, What Am I, of course, is our returning champion in the finals against Floppy Mudkip, and, Boulevard, he did a little call out to you. It was in no small part your call out on the seasonal that has fueled him. He said no less than 60% of his success can be owed to the rage induced from your comments. So yeah, you take a little bit of credit there.
I know that feeling all too well. I remember very early on in a card game career of mine, one of my teammates was like, "Oh, this guy doesn't test enough. He's never going to succeed in this." So I went on to win the world championship that year just to kind of shut him up. Wouldn't be a fight night if I didn't mention that I'm a world champion. Just got to get that out of the way early on. But yeah, I mean, rage is a powerful motivator, and I'm happy. It's not like I didn't want to see What Am I succeed, right? It was just this is the matter of the fact, and I am very happy that he has been just crushing it lately, both in Fight Night and the Mastering Runeterra daily tournaments that have been happening. He has just been popping off since the release of Curious Journey.
Yeah, it's it really is a testament to the consistency of someone like What Am I. Yes, went through maybe a little bit of a downturn, a rough patch, as you so famously pointed out on the seasonal. But here's the thing. Like you said, never doubted What Am I as a player. Certainly one of the stronger ones that we have in the world today. And, the fruits of his labor are being bared out in front of us. But we are not going to be watching What Am I in the first round. We're actually going to be catching Monte Cristo versus Skathis. And Boulevard, these players have brought some interesting decks. Monty on the Talia Malphite of all things.
Yeah, I don't remember if Grandpa Roji is a wobbly wombat, but every now and then someone breaks out the Talia Malphite, and just I don't know if it's. I always think Grandpa Roji is in their ear, but you can never really tell. Some people do just like this art. It's not like Grandpa Roji's the only Talia Malphite player, just sort of the best one, the most famous one. So
isn't it like he's the only one? He kind of is.
Well, we'll see if Monty can take home the win tonight and sort of challenge Roji on that one.
Yeah, definitely an interesting deck. It actually even has a single Ziggs as well. So 1 Ziggs, 3 Talia, 2 Malphite. Outside of that, the deck is, well, I want to say standard, but can you really...
What is standard Talia Malphite, exactly. Right?
Yeah, we're seeing triple chip, a Herald of the Magus of all things, and then Stonebreaker. Stonebreaker's a card I actually thought was going to be way better when I first saw it. I'm like, oh, this is a unit. It's got like kind of okay stats. I mean, definitely not great stats, but you play it and it deals damage to a unit, potentially kills a unit. And I think this card has seen exactly 0 play.
Yeah, and I noticed one thing that is I always see in the Roji versions, at least, but it's been a while since I've seen a Roji version, is I think it's called Earth Elemental, the 3/5 that gets +3 attack and Overwhelm, actually absent from this list tonight. So which is curious, because I think that Overwhelm is a keyword that people value very highly right now, given the high presence of Bandle City. You want to overwhelm onto those chump blockers and things like that. So a little curious to see that missing. But like you mentioned, we have the Herald of the Magus and the Absolver for big Overwhelm finishes on other units.
Yeah, we definitely do. So that'll be an interesting one. I wonder, you know, it's funny because these like air quote meme decks sometimes they don't end up making it to play because it's like I don't know what to do against this deck, so I'm just gonna ban it. Yeah, I'm just gonna get it out of here. Here's Scathis though, from Australia of all places. So certainly I don't know the exact time difference, especially with daylight savings time.
Do they have daylight savings time in Australia?
I mean, regardless, it's probably, you know, 14 or 15 hours difference in the future. So it's probably like, let's see, if it was 12, it would be 6 a.m. So maybe like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, something like that. I don't know, of tomorrow. Either way, it's a weird time that is not the time we're in right now. Still, you know, coming out here, playing Fight Night. You'll love to see it. Brought a couple of interesting decks here. We see the Darkness, and we see Scouts, and then we see Echo Zillion, the deck that Beastlama has done really well on.
Yeah, I think Echo Zillion has won a Fight Night in every region this season.
Oh.
I know Garrett's picked up a BR win. I think someone picked up an EU win, and then, of course, Beastlama getting the Americas win. So curious to see if that's a trend that's going to continue, because you only ever see one. I don't think you ever see two in these events, but it usually performs pretty well.
Yeah, it is an interesting one. It's one of those, you know, we talked with Beastlama in the winners interview a couple of weeks ago, and it just looks so, it just does not look like a good deck on paper.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look strong. It doesn't look that great. Even if you played against it and seen that it can win, it like feels like it always wins by the skin of its teeth. So you're never really afraid of it. And he was just saying, yeah, no one ever bans this deck, and I always win with it. Like it's just so good into the meta right now. It just doesn't do it in a fancy way. So yeah, you take those, I guess.
I mean, the time bombs will do that. Bladed Ravine is pretty expensive, but you know, you really only need that one damage to come through, so the time bomb's perfect for something like that. But yeah, like you mentioned, I play against this deck all the time. They get down to 2 cards in hand almost immediately, and then they just kind of sit at 2 cards in hand for the entire game and then kill me, and I'm like, oh, okay, I lost by exact lethal. They have 1 card left in their hand. I guess if this had gone any other way, it would have been fine, but it just always seems to go that way.
Yeah, it's got like that. It's like it like hides in plain sight. It's weird. But hey, we'll see if Scathis is going to be able to take that down. Of course, the other deck I want to call out is Darkness, a deck that has been hotly hated on Twitter, and we may or may not be having a deck tech video coming out soon with that Boulevard. I don't know if you know anything.
I do know a little something about that. Darkness is definitely my most played deck. Very excited that it's getting all the praise that it deserves and more on Twitter. But it looks like we're about to hop into game number 1 here. Hoping that Darkness is on the table.
I hope so too. The only thing that I don't enjoy about the praise is that it also comes, you know, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So I hope people aren't calling for bans here, but we are going to be seeing the other deck in Monty's lineup. This is, of course, the Gnarlines, the deck I believe 4LW originally piloted to Masters very early on in the season, and we've been seeing a decent amount still played, later on.
Yeah, I expected this deck to fall off a cliff pretty quickly, and I am surprised that it has maintained really any presence in the meta, where you'll consistently see, you know, maybe 1 player every week bringing it. It's not performing to the level that this Echo Zillion is, but now we sort of have our 2 one-ofs that we're always seeing duking it out here in the first game of the night.
Yeah, and, weirdly enough, I think it's, Beastlama doesn't have a very stable stream, so we usually don't get to see his perspective, so it's actually a little bit refreshing and different to see the Echo Zillion side here as our air-quote hero, though, not really the hero, just the view that we're looking at, and, I just naturally... it's like it's you, right?
Yeah.
You gotta root for him.
It's always weird when I'm casting with Doza and we do our own production, and I am holding the hand of the second player, so they are the hero in my mind, and then I use the I language to refer to what everybody else sees as the other player, so...
Right.
Thank goodness for Fight Night Production letting me be the hero with you.
I know, Boulevard, you're not used to being the hero. You're usually the heel or the villain, but, here we're all heroes. All right, getting the predicts off. We actually, weirdly enough, don't have enough to level up Echo quite yet.
And we're very likely to lose an Echo here. I don't even know if there's anything that Skathis can draw that is more expensive than Echo. My gut says no.
Your gut is... Well, it didn't draw one, but your gut is technically not correct. There are... Well, okay, what you said is correct. There's nothing that costs more than Echo.
Yeah, but there's
there
a couple
are
other forecasts.
Golden Ambassadors, yeah, Voice of the Risen, and Rite of Negation as the other forecasts that potentially would have tied there and at least had a chance to keep an Echo. But by the way, Mystic Shot is drawn.
This is looking insanely bad for Skathis. Monty has, you know, this thermogenic beam. As long as that lines up onto the Echo, Skathis is just out of gas. I know that Garrett's talks a lot about this deck. This is his pet deck. He absolutely loves it. And talks a lot about it doesn't matter what you do. As long as you level the Echo, you can start to rebuild your economy. You get off, you know, you get those cards into your deck. You get the time tricks. You get everything flowing. If you can't stick a leveled Echo, you are in for a rough time unless you have one of your backup win conditions. And Skathis just has nothing.
Well, has 1 zillion now. Which means I think that is the requisite number of predicts, certainly with the time trick.
Oh, we're gonna lose Echo.
We're losing Echo. Wow, Monty with the aloof travelers off the top rope, slamming Echo into the bin twice now.
I mean, there's one Echo still in the deck. We could grab Golden Ambassador and roll the dice on it. We've got a 33% chance to hit the Echo, but it's still going to be, you know, another turn before that Echo comes down, because first we have to play the Ambassador. Monty might just somehow rip another Aloof Travelers here.
Yeah, also not a guarantee to hit Allegiance.
I always forget that. There are a lot of, you know, non-Shurima cards in this deck. Obviously, you've got the Predict to try and manipulate it a little bit, but no Predict immediately available in Skathis' hand.
There's a lot, and yeah, you need the Predict essentially to guarantee it. All right, the Rip does hit. Oh, but then misses the 50-50. Not great. I guess you can pretty willy-nilly throw away the Zilly.
Yeah, might as well get the bigger one on field. But not a lot of trading power on Skathis' board right now.
No, not a lot of trading power, a full grip from Monte Cristo, and also Wombo combo of Buried in Ice, plus It That Stares to just wipe. Even if Skathis comes back and puts out a whole board, that combo gets through all of the shenanigans that Skathis can have.
Yeah.
Right? All the echoes, all the echo stuff, all of everything. That combo just completely and literally obliterates the board.
It's hard to play against, and even though it's been in the deck since day one, everybody knows the Wombo combo is in there, that they have the potential to play it. It's still difficult to play around because they're going to go wide. You know, you want to try to maintain some semblance of a board once they start slamming down whatever the pillar turns into on top of It That Stares. It's a very difficult thing to shoot through, and Skathis just does not have the resources for it. Okay, well, we got the right, but it's fleeting, so that doesn't really matter. And I believe now Station Archivist shuffles the cards away.
It does shuffle them appropriately now. I believe that they fixed that bug.
Okay.
When you get that card off of the Station Archivist and it's completely irrelevant, I think that's called a wrong of negation.
Oh, Blev, did I miss casting with you?
The answer to that question is probably no, but regardless, you are here and you're stuck, so... Oh, boy.
I was waiting to see where that was going. All right, so we do get the right onto the first Buried in Ice.
Okay.
So, you know, tempo positive for Skathis, but they already kind of ran out other cards, not much left to do with it, and there is still that second copy in Monty. Oh, here we go. We don't get to see it all.
You love it. All right. Well, we're getting a little too much chit chat from these players. Someone get these players in line.
Yeah.
Even though they're in the past technically.
They're being a little friendly. This is fight night. I want to see a fight.
Yeah, exactly. It was funny. I played in an IRL card tournament yesterday, and my couple of my local buddies who actually haven't seen me play in a competitive event were very, not weirded out, but they were taken aback by how in the zone and competitive I get at events like that. They were like, whoa, you like, you're like not like you at all. I'm like, yeah, I'm not.
I would say that I am exactly how you expect me to be, which is probably how you were, given that you were the opposite of you, where
Right.
I don't say a single word. I communicate in hand gestures and looks, and once I start bantering, it's because the game is over and there's nothing anyone can do about it.
Yeah. I mean, I talk, but mostly for convenience rather than anything else. But yeah, it's exactly like that. Getting in the zone, competitive mindset, et cetera, et cetera. But this one, Monty might be bantering. I mean, they are bantering already, but if this were an in-person event, Monty might start, you know, chirping away here, as this game does feel like it's a bit over. But like you said, Boulevard, this is kind of how these Echo Zillion games play out, where it's like, they got no cards in hand, they've got no resources, nothing on board, and all of a sudden they're attacking for exacties somehow.
Yep. I don't think that's going to be the case here. We're already down 2 Echo. We're down 1 Zillion. You only have so many win cons, and they're pretty fragile, right? There's not an insane amount of protection for them, which is normally fine because the meta is extremely Demacia heavy. There's not a lot of removal running around. But then you play against, you know, pretty much exactly Trundle timelines, and they've got all the removal in the world, as we see 2 Thermo Beams still in Monty's hand.
Mm-hmm. Likely going to have to use this Thermo Beam on the Zillion, as the Zillion is potentially going to be leveling up. And leveled up Zillion, that is a way to get back into it, potentially.
Yeah, especially given that your hand is 2 Mystic Shot. I mean, that's 8 damage if the Zillion levels.
Yeah, that is true.
Wonder if this is the Buried in Ice that could get punished by 3rd Zillion, then seeing that bomb explode, and now there's 2 Zillions out, and, you know, if they both level, that's a whole nightmare.
Oh, does that work like that?
I haven't seen it happen before, but I think
either.
so.
I have no... Yeah, would they both, like... Yeah, because they count for each other. Would they both have seen one, or would it count as... I have no idea.
I believe they would both have seen one, but you could probably find another bomb with the way this game's going, with the way that Echo Zillion traditionally plays. What is going on Monty's camera right now? Oh, is that an ad?
That is an ad for something.
Holy moly.
There's another time bomb.
Yeah, no choice there.
Wait, which means if that... Oh, does it hit a Mystic Shot, or does it hit the bomb?
Oh,
okay, we're level Zillion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's
an Echo. Wait, Boulevard, did we talk too soon?
Oh no, and
we speak too soon?
You can't even Thermo Beam it because it's at 6 health now.
Is this what the skin of our teeth looks like, Boulevard? Oh no.
It very well might, Blevins. It felt like Monty couldn't possibly lose here, and might still be fine for what it's worth, but
the Zillion doesn't even die.
Yeah, I guess we're
just... Is that a miscalc from Monty? Or
no, I think it's a setup for It That Stares. Because if Skathis does play this Echo, he's just going to get It That Stared. And as cool as the leveled Zillion... We drew
Wait! The prayers have paid off. Skathis said every drawn drop border equals 1 prayer, and they're paying off right now.
Can it be enough? Because the Zillion is still going to die this turn. Monty's got the attack token. You've got vulnerable onto it. As long as... Okay, there is a possibility that we actually get to save the Zillion with the Mystic Shot. Man.
It's possible. I mean, you probably don't pull it with a 4-1 when there's a Mystic Shot face up in hand, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's fair. Not even going to go for the It That Stares, though. Instead, sort of playing the long game here.
Yeah.
And Harsh Wind's actually going to do quite the number on Echo, trying to rebuild the time tricks in the hand of Skathis here.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. Monty knows if this Echo goes down, that is all of the Echoes. There's no way to bring him back. Now... Skathis doesn't really have to do anything else this turn until Monty does something. Of course, this attack is almost certainly going to be coming through for Monty. Perhaps. Okay, some fumes as well.
Was that always there?
It might have been.
I remember seeing it earlier, but it might have gotten cut off on the border of the hand there.
Right. Okay, sentry coming through.
This
is just looking...
the kill on the Zillion, at least.
Yeah. Ooh, the sentry getting turned into Betty Croker. Certainly not great. Now, Skathis can kill Trundle here, but not...
It would cost the Echo.
Yeah, it would cost the Echo. Certainly not worth it.
No. Skathis trying to figure out, is face the place? What are my outs here? Do I have enough burn to possibly draw through? My gut says no, but I'll tell you straight up, I ain't never played a game of Echo Zillion.
Yeah, you kind of need either to have a wide board or a bunch of cards or like a Zillion engine going, and we just don't have any of those pieces. We do have the leveled up Echo, which is certainly something. I love this attack here. It's saying, hey, I drew a Mystic Shot. Monty says, I literally don't care what you have. I'm going to eat your last Echo. And Skathis says, all right, we had a little bit of fun. The excitement was there for a few seconds, but this one's over.
Ultimately, that deck still, that was a loss, right? From pretty early on. Losing 2 Echoes to Aloof Travelers is kind of insane, and the deck still managed to hang on for quite some time. Now, part of that was the lack of finishing power that we generally see in Trundle timelines when they don't have, the Trundle in order to get that free 8-drop. But yeah, still an impressive showing by Echo Zillion. We might get a run back on it for game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the game didn't end for, 4 or 5 turns, but the game was over a while ago. And we had a little bit of fun there.
We got hopeful.
I think there were some scenarios where if draws had happened differently, potentially there could have been something there, maybe.
Yeah.
Not really.
I don't think Monty was really expecting, or Skathis rather, I don't think Skathis was expecting to win that matchup. I think you did bring it more for these Bandle City board-based decks, so this should be the game that Skathis was looking for.
Yeah, and this is against Monte Cristo's Fatality deck, which is a great one. I think it was Squeeby who came up with this deck, or at least the name. Or at least put out a video. I don't know. At what level.
Squeeby named it, and I'm pretty sure he worked on it as well. People have gotten really good about when they make a deck, they're like, me and these other people worked on it, and then tag them. And I'm like, cool, I have a source to point back to.
Yeah. And also, fantastic name for sure. Fatality, certainly a good one. We could also just call it Squeeby Pile. I know Mo would like that if we just called it Squeeby Pile. So maybe it's either or, whichever one you like.
Yeah.
Either way, it is going to be a Yordle Arms shell with, of course, the Shadow Isles package, including Atrocity, which is really where the Fatality part comes with. And actually, that's the only non-Bandle card is the Atrocity. So just straight up Bandle City plus 2x Atrocity.
Yeah, and it looks like they actually did cut the Yordle... what is the Allegiance Yordle's name? Gruffer? Grenadier?
Oh,
is it Yordle Grenadier?
It might be.
Sounds right. That was actually cut for Tenor of Terror, so technically we've got another Shadow Isle card in there, but maybe just deciding that, after playing the card a few times, the random Yordle that you're generating more often than not just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it really does say something about a card when the Allegiance card that is very favored to hit Allegiance, or at least is in a deck that has the right ratios for Allegiance, is still not playing the card.
Yeah. And this is as early as you could possibly level Zillion, so good start here from Skathis, getting a couple of those cards that you want to get off, like the Grandfather Fae, you want to get that off the field immediately. The Fae buff is insane in a deck like this. Now we've even got the Rite of Negation for either the Atrocity or the Yordles in Arms, whatever we feel is threatening first. But things looking really strong here for Skathis.
Yeah, but Tristana leveled is quite scary. You mentioned being able to have a wide board, potentially having all these chump blockers, but Tristana kind of goes around that. You're still going to be chunking in for a few every time you attack because of that impact.
Yeah, Tristana kind of goes hard. Oh, we can pick up Echo, though, taking that over Quicksand.
Yep, and we even have the Absolver now turned on because the Zillion leveled up. So potentially...
This is still looking dicey, Blev. There's a lot more multi-region followers in Monty's hand that can come down, get this impact. And you're not killing Tristana, and I think she could be as high as impact 5 or 6 by the end of this turn.
Yeah. Tristana, you know, she really was just needed a critical mass of multi-region cards, and all of a sudden she's like low-key the best champion in the game.
Yeah, I remember when they were still doing the deal for the Bandle or the Ernest Elf Tristana skin that we see Monty here, where you just had to buy coins in the shop. I went and I reminded a couple of people, and they were like, like I'd even care about getting a skin for this unplayable champion, the worst Bandle City champion ever printed. And now, when you see a Tristana deck on the other side of the table, you are terrified.
Yeah, and if you're playing a Tristana deck and don't have that Ernest Elf skin, I mean, you're just embarrassed, honestly. All right, we're going to try to chunk a bit of damage in with the Echo here.
Yeah, guaranteeing the time trick as Monty was trying to deny it with the Pokey Stick, which I like on Monty. I think that was very smart, but instead takes 9 for the trouble.
I got very confused because I'm like, A, why is Skathis using a Pokey Stick on this? B, how did he get a Pokey Stick? And what is going on? And yeah, no, that very interesting play there. I mean, love the play from Monty, like you said. That the Absolver is a 1-of, I believe. So
yeah, that lethal potential out of the way, but we did get enough predictions through that we did find another drop order, which I think is what Skathis was really looking for.
Mm-hmm. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got 12 of impact.
Yeah.
12 impact.
We actually have 14.
Oh, right. Teemo has some. Oh, wait, no.
Teemo and Fizz have impact, yeah.
Oh, yes. We've got the 2 that I just didn't see because there's not a 1 next to them.
Oh, I'll tell you what. I'd hate it if I full blocked and still took 14 damage.
Yeah. I'd also hate it if I had the Rite of Negation to stop this and it just didn't even get close to mattering.
Yeah. Looking like we might Buster Shot to clear out a blocker and still push through that elusive on the Fizz. So this is going to force out the Absolver. Now you know that there's no Mystic Shots or anything coming out to stop your units, and this will just be lethal for Monty.
Yeah, this was, you know, it didn't really seem close at any point. I mean, I guess the leveled up Zillion was, it was scary for a second, and then a full board and a leveled up Tristana said, yeah, have your fun. Cool
the tenor of terrors coming down after the time bombs were resolved, I think, is kind of what did it there. You don't really have a lot of sweepers after that.
Good stuff. All right, I will say this. If you're on fight night and you're talking to your opponent, not a problem. Hit OK and let the game end first before you do that. We do get to see the Tristana skin as a reward here, but that is going to be Monte Cristo taking it down 2-0 versus Skathis. Whew, there it is. Round 1 match done relatively quickly there. Not too crazy. I mean, is Echo Zillion dead? Boulevard, I don't know. We just saw it get 0-2'd for potentially the first time in Fight Night.
I am a well-known Zillion Echo hater, but I haven't really talked about the deck since it came out. And it came out in, what, the 2nd or 3rd Shurima set? Someone called me out on Twitter when the seasonal happened because I said that the deck sucked, and they were like, look, like 2 people got top 32 with it. And I'm like, I said the deck sucked 6 months ago. It's a different deck now. But even still, not... Like, it's not the kind of deck that I'm ever going to take the ladder. I don't really like the play style of getting... Like, I want to have 10 cards in hand at all times.
Well, you can play Bandle City or Darkness or something else.
Big Darkness supporter.
I love Darkness, but not enough for it to get nerfed or banned. But we do have another round 1 match still to go to. We're going to be jumping into Floppy Mudkip versus Sam Sands here. Believe Floppy is up 1-0 based on the bracket here, which if you're wanting to look at the bracket yourself, you can exclamation mark bracket in the chat. But here we are. Yes, we have that updated as well on the screen. We got Floppy here. That is a leveled Draven. Don't really see that too much anymore, Boulevard.
No, I know that there's been a resurgence in like Draven, or not even Draven actually. It's Ezreal, Caitlyn, Tribeam.
Yeah.
So like even Draven's been pushed out of that. But this is Draven, Sion, Vi. I almost forgot the names of all those champions because it's been so long since we've seen any of them played.
Yeah, this is like a this is almost like a Raptor special.
Oh, and Sion will level himself perfectly if he wants to get played here.
Perfectly balanced as all things should be here. It's gonna be, as is tradition, pretty hard to get through the turn 7 on attack token leveled up Sion with a full board.
Yeah, there's a mini morph in hand for Samsans hidden off to the side there, so we can play a blocker and play a mini morph, but you know there's still that Flame Chompers on board. There's still 3 spell mana on Floppy's side.
Yeah. Broadwing, sure. We send in. Is there a reason to pull that one and not 3/3?
I don't think it matters too much because the 3/3. I mean, neither of them can block Fearsome. Even with Sharpsight, this still can't block Fearsome. I guess is sort of what we're going for here.
I'm forgetting that Fearsome is the ultimate counter to Formidable. I forget that.
Yeah, but with Samsans, I think having to commit the mini morph here onto the Scion, yeah, things are just over anyway. As there's still more than enough burn in Floppy's hand to finish this off.
Yeah, even so, it was gonna be pretty tough. So we jump in for a quick one. Floppy,
got to see how the champ is doing. The reigning, well, not reigning champion, but reigning. I don't know what you want to call it. It's his 4th fight night that he feels like a champion in my mind.
Yeah, well, okay, so tied for all-time leading number of wins in Fight Night right now, Floppy Mudkip at 4 alongside of Ultraman on the EU side. So a win today would put him in hallowed ground here. Would be the only person with 5. There are a few, I think, with 3. I don't recall exactly all of the other numbers off the top of my head, but Santupe did do a great job of collecting that information and putting it into spreadsheet form so we could take a look at it.
I like to think that it's not that you couldn't remember the players corresponding to the numbers, you just couldn't remember any numbers other than 5 and 4.
Yeah, I don't know what comes before that. It's one of those numbers. There's so many of them. How am I supposed to remember them all? There's infinite. There's infinite. How could I possibly expect it to remember every number? Unreasonable. But yeah, definitely. I mean, certainly a big point for Floppy here. To try to get that. I mean, he has mentioned it as well. That that's definitely something that he's looking to do, and we'll definitely be following him and his journey in this event. But before we do that, we got a quick break to go to, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Fight Night Legends when we return. Hello and welcome back to Giant Slayer's Fight Night Legends, brought to you by Wisdom. I'm not Boulevard. I'm still Blevins. That's still Boulevard.
I was gonna say, if you're still Boulevard, I got lost on translation. I don't know who I am anymore.
We can't even Freaky Friday because Fight Night's on Monday now.
My God.
But
You guys really screwed the pooch on this one.
well, when you say you guys, it's just me. Anyways, let's take a look at the bracket, see how that round one played out. Of course, we saw a couple of these matches happen. What Am I, our reigning champion, did take down Zach TCG 2-0. We did, of course, see Monte Cristo on screen, as well as Floppy Mudkip and Infinite Patrons able to take down BNT 2-1. But if your favorite player lost, fear not. We do still have a loser's bracket to complete as well. You get 2 lives in Fight Night. But we're going to be focusing on the winner's side until we get down to that loser side. And for this round, Boulevard, we're going to be watching Floppy Mudkip versus Infinite Patrons.
Yeah, nothing crazy coming out of... Well, I say nothing crazy coming out of either of these players, and that's straight up not true. Let me say that right off the bat. Number one, Infinite Patrons has brought Echo Zillion. So maybe that's the problem.
Okay.
You can only have one Echo Zillion do well in Fight Night. So Monty got Skathis rather got the, drew the short stick on that end. So
yeah.
We'll see how that goes. And then, of course, Floppy bringing Nar Sejuani Vandal City. I've seen this pop up in a couple of Fight Nights. I think it's peaked out at, 3rd place. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. It is the... I'm pulling up the deck now to make sure that this is the... Yeah, it's almost like a Rico Rex style Overwhelm deck, basically, right? It is... It's certainly one. I actually saw this a decent amount on Ladder because I think I was either watching Mo's stream or I was watching someone and they played against. Oh no, it was actually What Am I? I was watching What Am I stream and he actually played against Floppy Mudkip and I'm like, oh, this is a Fight Night rematch. Now I'm remembering exactly. And Floppy was playing this deck and well, I will say What Am I was on a pretty bad streak in his Ladder run. On that stream and didn't end up getting there, but the deck definitely seemed quite strong. It feels very Overwhelm, Rico Rex-esque, but instead of running Noxus and Burn, you just get to run, the cards that you want to run, like Gnar and Battleologist and Pokestick. Yeah.
Yeah, so the one card that is curious to me in this deck is Teeny Dactyl, because I feel like this card was really hyped up when the set released, and it just has not found a home. It's been tried out in a couple of different shells, but it feels like it's one of the first things to go more often than not. Yeah,
it's okay. It's okay. I'm not a huge fan of it either. A 5/4 is just not it turns into a 5/4, right? Or does it turn into a 6/5?
I think a 6/5.
I don't remember.
Okay. But it has impact, not
good.
Overwhelm, so it's
also, it's okay.
Missing from this list is the Toad, which Mega Mogwai said was the best card in the set, and he said that I could quote him on that. I'm not sure why he said it or why he said that we could quote him on it, but he did. So there's your quote on it.
Yeah, well, it has officially been quoted on it, but it's yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, I'm definitely not big on the Toad. That card, I think that card is just actively not even good. Not let alone the best card in the set. Let's be honest. Teeny Dactyl though, yeah,
it looks so good on paper.
Kind of
on paper, Teeny Dactyl looks great.
But then you think about it a little bit. Right?
Yeah, you get your hands on it. You play it, and you're like, eh.
Yeah, you're like, okay, it's a huge unit. Oh, wait, it needs to have a turn pass to get to it, and then it's like you play a 4-mana, can't do anything. It doesn't attack well, it doesn't block well. And then maybe you get a proc, but either way, we may be seeing it in action because that is exactly the deck that Floppy Mudkip has right now.
I've had people asking me, is Sejuani a good counter to Scouts? And I feel like the answer is no, because I feel like your Sejuani has to come down leveled on turn 6 in order for it to do anything against Scouts.
Yeah.
Because that's usually when they're looking to kill you, sometimes earlier, maybe a little bit later, but you need to have Sejuani down and leveled by turn 7 at the absolute latest. We don't see it in the opening hand for Floppy here, and I do like a list like this a little bit more than something like, Foundry, because you can play aggressively, you can match them on board, and even put a little bit of kill pressure out there. But I have no concept of how to judge this hand from floppy, because we're really clunked up on 4-drops. If we can get down these Ancient Yetis in a timely fashion, great.
Yeah, the in a timely fashion part is where this is potentially going to go off the rails, because we are going to be threatening MF level up next turn with the scout attack here, with some protection as well on the side of patrons. That's going to be pretty good. Yes, floppy can get some reduced cost, could potentially get some reduced cost 5/5s, and has a Gnar. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, Stroll Chant's good, but so is Sharp Sight. Well, it doesn't look clear at the moment, which is nice, because I feel like a lot of times we watch games against Demacia, and when you have a picture of both hands, it's very clear who's going to win the game by turn 4, and that's just really not the case here. So at least we've got that going for us. But I will say that, Bright Steel Protector on top of having the Scout, things are looking pretty strong for Infinite Patrons, at least in terms of leveling the Misfortune. And I don't see Floppy killing Infinite Patrons before that happens.
Well, considering it is going to happen next turn, I don't think that Floppy's going to be able to kill Infinite Patrons on this turn with no additional mana.
Is it really happening next turn?
Going for a pass. Or no, maybe... No, I guess it's not next turn. It's the turn after. I don't know why I was thinking it was.
You said it so confidently, I believed you, and I'm looking at the mana.
I believed it as well, and it's certainly not.
Okay, now it can happen on Floppy's turn. You know what, Blev? You were just You're ahead of your time.
I was so close. Oh, that is a whiff, though. Okay. I mean, it still does the trick of getting a Misfortune proc and a Scout attack off without having to kill your Island Navigator, so that's a positive.
Yeah, that will give you the ability to attack twice next turn when you rally onto your Scout.
We also may be seeing the test case for Teeny Dactyl, as Floppy Mudkip can play... Pokey Stick and a Teeny Dactyl this turn if he wants.
It's looking like it's going to be the Yeti instead. That does leave open Conchologist, but I don't think I've ever played Conchologist in a Freljord deck. I'm trying to think of what good pools you have.
You got Frostbite, you've got Troll Chant, you've got cards that are much worse than those.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's going to kill... Oh, okay. With Brittle Steel, you can pull... It deals 4 damage to a unit if it's Frostbitten. I mean, just ignore the double Sharp Sight and the Bright Steel Protector in Infinite Patron's hand, and, you live in a world where maybe you get to kill this Misfortune.
I mean, it is possible, considering we've got Troll Chant to counter the Sharp Sight in response. That's a possibility. Going for the kill here on the Ancient Yeti. Floppy Mudkip obliges.
Yeah, last game we saw Fearsome being the counter to Formidable. This game we're seeing Formidable will be the counter to Frostbite.
Yeah. Well, and here, now that I've remembered how, to count to 4, this is looking a lot worse for Infinite Patrons, because his Misfortune is certainly not leveling, right? The Gnar... Oh, wait, no, the Gnar does not pull the Misfortune. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, I think we are seeing... we might have to see Floppy go for Entomb onto Misfortune in response to the rally. Which, honestly, given the state of Infinite Patron's hand, pretty all in on that Misfortune.
Yeah, it is a bunch of things that work well with Misfortune and protect Misfortune, and just about nothing else in terms of threats.
Yeah, I think Floppy might actually be able to turn the tides here if he can leave open the mana. But, I mean, Infinite Patrons doesn't have to rally. If Floppy wants to offer the pass, Infinite Patrons can just pass and level MF on the open with the Scout attack anyway.
Yeah, but again, I guess that begs the question of, is that actually good enough? And Floppy clearly thinks, no, that's not good enough. Like, you can have your leveled MF what else do you have?
Yeah. Oh, and now a second misfortune in case they actually do deal with the first one. So good patience on the side of Infinipatrons to take that pass there and not get greedy with the rally.
Yeah, and this open attack, I think, kind of, it does make me think that there's a rally here if I'm floppy, because the rally would allow the scout attack to come back online, so you're not actually losing your scout attack here if you want to use rally. So the open attack looks a little weird otherwise because it's a free attack with the... It's a free scout attack here, right? Like, you can't really block. And even if you can, it's whatever.
Yeah, Infinipatrons, you know, could lose the MF here. Oh, it looks like no blocks are declared. I was going to say, we could see, like, a Fury of the North to block the Misfortune, and even in that case, we still have mana for Misfortune and a rally.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not seeing a way for Floppy to come back into this one. 13 is just a little bit too high a life total. Maybe if we can draw that Battle Fury. Is that even the deck this was in? Okay, yeah, there is one Battle Fury in here. So that's still on the table.
Okay, we rally here. That's going to allow... I mean, we rally here. There's 6 damage coming through just from scout attacks.
Yeah, so you still have to put a blocker in front of Misfortune to stop that overwhelm damage. You don't have... Yeah, I just don't see Floppy being able to do it here.
Yeah, and if Floppy does use the Entomb, that means there's going to be 3 mana left over. Can't do much. Interestingly, Floppy does not go for any sort of kill here.
Looks like we are
onto
now.
The Broadwing.
Okay, kill on a Misfortune.
Entomb.
Infinipatrons just plays second Misfortune, and I think that's the end of the game. There's too big to Brittle Steel.
Yeah.
Not going to have enough blockers.
Yep, this happens. This is going to be 3 damage, puts to 6.
Oh, maybe... No, I think you live, actually. I forgot the Misfortune doesn't get to attack twice. You have to go in with the 0-4 first.
Right, the 0-4 is just doing the 3 damage.
Oh, no, there's... Yeah, no, I mathed it out. I mathed it out right, then I did it wrong, and now I'm right again. All right, this is lethal.
Yeah. Yeah. Floppy Mudkip is effectively at 3 here and needs to defend this next attack, which is just not going to happen. Infinipatrons taking down game number 1, and we saw it last week. Floppy did make a run back through the loser side from, I believe, this very round.
Well, loser side? He lost game 1. Blevins caught him a little slack. He's not down there yet.
Just saying. Just saying. It's not something that he hasn't done, but you certainly want to be there from the winner's side. But either way, I mean, the Nar Sejuani, against Scouts certainly at least a ladder test. I mean, not necessarily something you always have to play against in tournament, but if not Scouts, then potentially some other rally deck that you got to worry about, though.
Yeah, I'm actually very surprised that are there 0 Demacia Yordles in arms tonight? There's 1. I think there's just 1.
Wow. Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, that is surprising to me.
Yeah, it looks like
no Sivir Akshan either. You guys just look at last week and ban all those decks and say you guys got to bring something else. No more Sivir Akshan, no more Scouts, no more.
But we definitely don't do that. But it's funny that the meta sometimes does end up playing out like that, though, where people look and see, oh, this is what's likely to happen, or this is what's likely to happen based on last week. Let's do something completely different. Sometimes it's like, let's just run it back.
Yeah,
very interesting. That's why I love Fight Night.
Very early Hexite Crystal grabbed for Infinipatrons.
Mm-hmm.
And a very expensive hand on the side of Floppy Mudkip.
Yeah. Very, very expensive. Floppy is going to be riding that pass button, I think, for as long as he can. Dust Speaker just to get a proc for Sedge.
I have very little to no concept of the proper time to Hexite Crystal in this matchup. These are really the only units you're going to get a direct kill onto with it. Maybe you play the second cat and try to save up for a second crystal, but even that I don't think is killing too many things. There's a lot of 5+ health units in Mudkip's deck.
Mm-hmm. I do think the crystal itself actually killing units is less important than the threat that it presents from it being face up in your hand.
That's true. As well as maybe you just wait until you get a leveled Zillion.
That is also possible. I think the long and short of it is there's not really too big of a rush for patrons to use it, and the fact that it's in hand prevents Floppy from going super wide with the low-cost units, and then if it's not with low-cost units, then, you know, Floppy's still going to be able to develop, you know, one big unit a turn for the most part, right? So
yeah,
it does a decent job of keeping the board semi-contained.
The second Zillion grab, I think, is actually pretty big for Infinite Patrons. I think you really want to try to level up the Zillion against this deck where there is very little interaction for it. On top of the fact that now you have this 4 health blocker you can throw in front of an Overwhelm unit. You take 1 damage this turn. You know, Floppy gets his Sejuani proc. Infinite Patrons doesn't take that much damage. Everybody's relatively happy with how that turned out.
Yeah.
Still no time bombs, though.
No time bombs yet, but there's our good friend Teeny Dactyl, which now, you know, kind of puts it puts an effective clock on, right? You're pinging every turn, all of your transform, you know, any future Teeny Dactyls now, as long as this one survives, are going to become pterodactyls right after. So certainly strong, but they still don't defend against Echo.
No, and there's really not a lot in Floppy's hand. We're going to be able to Sejuani it here, and I think Sejuani will be leveled by the next time it is Infinite Patron's attack turn, and we'll Frostbite the board, no problem. I don't know how Infinite Patrons gets out of this without being able to Zillion some Hexite Crystals to try and get all of this off the board.
That is true. Okay, Boulevard, I think we figured it out.
All right.
This is why the Teeny Dactyl's in the deck. It is just the combo with Sejuani. It's just the engine.
That's fair. So I never really liked that in my Sejuani deck because I want to pick when I'm frostbiting your board. If I do it at the beginning of the round, then like Yordles and Arms can still get played, and I might still be in an awkward spot or something along those lines.
I don't disagree with you. I also think that having a consistent engine is probably still fine.
It's probably worth
if
it.
If you're getting a Sedge proc off every turn, you're probably not too hard up, especially in this region where you don't. It's not Bilgewater where you have warning shots and Make It Rains and whatnot.
Yeah. So we're gonna grab a Chrono Break. Okay, so we get to full block and still revive our board. And I think Zillion still shuffles in bombs.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Let me hover Zillion real quick. No, it's just play. I wasn't sure if the time bomb creation was tied to the predict, and it looks like it is. It'd be weird if he had predict and then a summon effect, I guess.
Yeah. It'd be too confusing for people to figure out. The hilarious part here is Floppy Mudkip, as you know, as is tradition, playing around the Chrono Break here, not allowing for any trades, you know, not allowing the full block, you know, saying, you know what, I can push some damage here, but if you have the Chrono Break, you got a lot of looks at it here with the Librarian, so not gonna risk it.
Yeah, instead just going to Burst Pass again and see if we can get that Archivist spell out of Infinite Patron's hand.
That looks like a Pix. One of the worst ones that you can get, but I guess not too bad when you got a bunch of Overwhelm units.
Yeah, not going to be crazy upset about that, I guess. You know, because there are still a lot of combat tricks in Infinite Patron's deck, like the Scrying Sands and the other sand card that's going to reduce the attack of your units. You do need to push through a little bit more damage. But, I mean, Sejuani's going to level pretty soon here. And at that point...
Yeah, this turn.
They can just sit there and pass back and forth, and Floppy Mudkip's going to eventually win the game. I think Teeny Dactyl will deal 14 damage before Infinite Patrons draws enough Time Bombs and Mystic Shots to go against the green.
Right. Okay, we are going to develop the picks here. Patrons, you can see kind of just like...
Yeah.
Wants to cast it, but doesn't want to. It's not actually good right now.
Yeah,
like,
because if you could cast it and you could attack with Echo, and then Floppy Mudkip just full sends their entire board back at you.
Right. Or and like imagine Brittle Steel. Like you just lose the game, right?
Yeah. Worth noting that even though Sejuani's leveled, there is no way for Floppy Mudkip to deal damage right now.
True. Very true.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure how much value you get from... I guess if you're going to use the time trick, you might as well get your information first.
Yeah,
like
I think...
showing your... Yeah.
Maybe some things change if you can hit another Chrono Break.
Right.
Gonna predict again.
Okay. This is an interaction I did not realize happened. If you have a full board, your drop border just doesn't go, just doesn't do anything.
They're just chilling.
It stays. Interesting.
Gonna go for the skip and overwrite for a time bomb. Roll the dice. Really looking for a Chrono Break. At least I assume they're looking for Chrono Break.
I have to imagine we're looking for Chrono Break. I mean, this also does set up the Zillion level up, which is nice. Zillion level up, or 2 time bombs plus...
Oh, it is just the Zillion
the
level
crystal.
up.
Yeah, 2 time bombs plus crystal. Kills at least some stuff.
You can't do that, though, because Zillion has to be leveled and see the card get played, and you would have to play the crystal now to get it next turn, and then Zillion wouldn't make a copy of it because he's not leveled yet.
Right, that's true.
Yeah, Zillion's got some weird interactions behind him. It's one of the, like, if you're gonna play Zillion Echo, you can't just play it for 2 games and then put it down and be like, okay, I hate this. Like, you gotta learn the ins and outs of the deck first.
I mean, you can put it down and say you hate it. That's,
you can.
That's fine. Because I've certainly done that. Although I did play more than 2 games.
I never picked it up in the first place.
It was kind of fun. I saw Garrett's and Ian Noguera on ladder. I think it was last season. You know, at the top of ladder playing it, and it was an interesting deck. I always like to take a look at some of the cool brews.
I remember catching a lot of flack for saying that I didn't like the deck and that it wasn't very good when it first came out because BBG was so big on it on ladder and in the side deck tournament that I think Mo put on at the time.
I do. Yes, I do remember that. It's debating using the crystal here. This kills a Yeti and a pit. I mean, it kills a handful of things.
Floppy does get to replace them pretty immediately, be it with either Gnar or just the go wide strategy, because Infinite Patrons is only on 4 units.
Yeah, I'm not sold on the use the crystal now plan. Don't know how much value you gain from not waiting until next turn.
I think you do have to kill this Yeti or you die next turn, or at least you're cognizant of the fact that, like, Battle Fury is in the deck. There might be some additional copies of Sejuani in hand to get Fury of the North, and you might actually just die if there are 3 Overwhelm units coming in at you.
That's true. I guess if the Yeti, if the Battle Fury saves the Yeti, you're at least not taking 3 damage. You're taking an additional 3 damage rather, but either way, it does happen.
All right. There is a chance for Infinite Patrons to really turn this around this turn. You know, Floppy does have the attack token, but there is a Chrono Break, so you've got to kill Infinite Patrons here, because Sejuani's already gone off for the turn. You can't do it again.
Right. The problem is that, you know, the real value of Chrono Break is a bunch of trades, maybe, you know, slightly unfavorable trades, but then you get to get your whole board back and crack back. Here, all you're doing is preventing some damage, not even being able to prevent enough here.
Yeah.
And then getting your board back to crack back, which can be blocked.
And I don't think there's any redirections of blocks. I think it's still going to be exact lethal, no matter how you slice it, on top of the fact that there is still a Fury of the North in Floppy Mudkip's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like that's just it.
All right. Tried to do some finagling, but Infinite Patron's not able to get there. Now tied 1-1 with Floppy Mudkip, which means we're going to be seeing Echo Zillion again on the side of Patrons. And I don't recall what the other deck that Floppy has that did not get banned here, so we'll see that in just a second.
Yeah, currently 0-3 on camera is Echo Zillion, and it looks like Scion Draven Vi is going to be the second deck that we're going to get to see here up against the Zillion Echo. I don't think this is... You do have Quicksand to get rid of Overwhelm. Which is cool.
I think the Echo Zillion deck, when it originally came out, was during a time when we had a lot of Ari Kennen, and as a result of that, we had a lot of Draven Rumble. And I think it was at least okay against Draven Rumble. The problem here is that this deck is not really... It is the same regions, and both of them have Draven, but the decks play out very differently. This is not the aggro/combo OTK deck that a Draven Rumble deck can look like. This is a much more, you know, air quotes, fair deck that is, you know, playing more of a mid-range strategy, and also can burn over the top.
That said, you do kind of cap out on 3 HP on like 90% of your units. So having this Hexite Crystal immediately available on top of, you know, we just need to find a bomb, and 2 drop borders. Things are going as good as they possibly can for Infinite Patrons.
Okay. You know, sometimes you get there.
Yeah, we even have the Mystic Shot onto the Draven if we want to. And of course, there is a survival skills in Floppy's hand if they want to try and save the Draven, but then, you know, you are going to lose it to it. Oh, if we Crystal now, that could be a little dicey.
We Crystal now, that's going to force the... Well, it doesn't really force. If Floppy wants to save the Draven, yeah, forces the Axe plus the survival skill. So, I mean, still fine. All we really lost was a drop border in terms of our board, but also lost the Hexite Crystal, which is certainly not the best. Hexite Crystal can be very, very strong, sort of used willy-nilly here.
All right. I like grabbing the second Echo. I think there's enough removal in Floppy Mudkip's deck that you don't want to rely on the first one sticking around through a Get Excited.
Right. Now, the Twin Blade Revenant, you know, obviously very good, you know, it's a good threat, but it also is just an infinite value engine. So now Floppy, I think, going to be more than happy to take any and all trades Infinite Patron is willing to offer here, because at the end of the day, Floppy Mudkip, A, goes bigger than Infinite Patrons in general with this deck, and B, like, every trade that the Twin Blade Revenant gets to make is kind of only partially a trade, because it just never dies.
Yeah, no fearsome blockers on the field of Infinite Patrons just yet, though, so that is going to be some free damage, which is good, because Floppy, you know, pretty behind in the damage race, pretty behind on board as well, going to need to really make up some ground here before we get to that actual Scion turn.
Yeah, which will be next attack token for Floppy, should he so desire. A 7-power Vi, not too shabby either.
Okay, Infinite Patrons has a really cute play here where you get to play the Echo, and if the Mystic Shot comes out, you get to level it in response with the Time Trick and then make another 0-mana Time Trick.
Yeah. I can't imagine Floppy is going for a Mystic Shot here. There's just like 1,000 different cards that level the Echo here. Perhaps pulling with Vi and saying I'm fine trading Vi for Echo if you have the
level up, yeah.
The predict, yeah.
There is okay, so stay with me here.
Okay.
You pull the Echo.
Yep.
Floppy or Infinite Patrons aligns one more blocker, and you go, oh, obviously they don't have a way to level Echo, otherwise they would do it to trade with my Vi. Then you Mystic Shot, then Infinite Patrons levels the Echo. I think that's too big-brained on everybody's side.
I think that the Mystic Shot to try to kill the Echo to save some damage on your Vi when your opponent has already locked in blocks is the opposite of big brain.
And stop a Time Trick.
Sure, that's
yeah,
kind of fair. Ooh, we are
overwhelming.
We overwhelmed. We discarded Scion to give Vi Overwhelm, and then drew the Scion back.
Okay,
we take those.
Yeah,
and by those I mean many points of damage. Yeah, who needs Scion when you have an even bigger Scion that only costs 5 mana and has Challenger?
Man, I haven't cast since the seasonal, and I knew I was going to miss some things. On top of the fact that I haven't cast Scion since,
since Scion
October. That was 5 months ago.
Yeah. Yeah, folks, you can... Scion does have an ability when he's discarded. Ooh. Absolver, though, potentially can change some of this combat math.
Yeah, I think Infinite Patrons, if they can hit a Chrono Break off of Echo's Time Trick, if you proactively go for the Absolver, and then just, if you can hit that Chrono Break off the Time Trick, I think you just win the game. Maybe
potentially.
Not. Maybe there's too much health.
Yeah, there's a lot of health. Oh, and a Whirling Death as well.
Never
mind. Yeah. Floppy Mudkip can also relatively... see, now the attack like this, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, Floppy Mudkip could hit skip block here.
Yeah.
I think know that he wants to, but he could.
I would consider blocking a 2-attack unit with my Twin Blade Revenant, but I think that's the only block that would be on my mind. Unless we want to do this and say, okay, yeah, what are you going to do to remove this Vi? Are you going to do it in combat?
Right.
Do I get the Whirling Death off onto your Echo?
Mm-hmm.
Because Scion might be enough to close out the game next turn anyway. I don't know if this Scion is leveling. Floppy really hasn't played too many units this game.
He played I think at the time 7-attack Vi.
Yeah, we're at 14.
And discarded a Scion that had gotten some pump.
Yeah, 4 or 5 attack maybe. We might only be sitting at like the early or mid 20s.
Yeah. I think it was a 5-attack Scion. Okay, so blocking like this and preemptively using the Whirling Death does mean that Absolver does kill the Vi.
Infinite Patrons could run some risks here. No, there's no way to stop the Echo dying, is there? So you're not going to get your...
I wonder... Is there a reason to be blocking... Like, don't you just put the Vi on the Echo here? And...
Not risk
Revenant, the Revenant on the other attack. I mean, obviously that makes sense based on what with caster vision, but we're putting the Vi at risk, at least in some ways, compared to the Twin Blade Revenant, which was just there as like a. I guess I guess this is just playing around. Okay, no, this makes sense. This is just playing around Rite of Negation. So yeah, no, this makes sense. If the play was Rite of Negation to stop this, then it would make a lot more sense. This block would make a lot more sense. So
yeah.
I've been
Get
sold.
an Axe onto Vi to level her up to survive to force more mana out of Infinite Patrons. I'm a fan.
Okay. Gonna force some more mana and some more damage here. I don't know that any of these cards have been predicted, so potentially Floppy just saying, okay, well, if you raw drew one of the 3 chrono breaks, so be it. But I've seen every card that you've predicted, I think.
I'm not going to lie. We can talk about this being, oh, you know, it's a high-level tournament. These are the best players in the world. Obviously, they're hand-tracking. But I guarantee half these people are sitting at home like, I'm not hand-tracking. That's so much effort, man. I'm not doing
I
all that.
agree. I don't know that I would say that about Floppy Mudkip, though. Floppy Mudkip very well may be hand-tracking.
Yeah, Floppy Mudkip has taken everything seriously since the seasonal. I know he called it out there that he felt like he was one of the best players in the world, and not many people saw him that way, and he's really trying to make his mark. And I gotta say, he's been crushing it since then.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scion, are you leveled?
You sure are.
Yeah.
There it is. We even have an axe for some additional damage. We've got a Mystic Shot to go over the top. We can play another blocker. Scion's going to be hitting for at least 4. Block, take 1. That's only 5. I don't think we're... I don't think that we're killing here.
Are you counting the axe on the Flame Chompers?
Sure am not counting the axe on the Flame Chompers. That changes the math a lot, of course.
It does make it significantly more.
It sure does. Yeah, Flame Chompers.
That's going to be burst speed too, so you can't even Mystic Shot it to prevent the challenge. You're just going to have to Mystic Shot that Boom Baboon to stop a little bit of damage, but...
Yeah, it might still be the same with the Mystic Shot. Mystic Shot, block. Block. We're going to be taking 6,
there's
7.
No mana on Floppy's side.
Yeah.
But still,
No.
I mean, this is just lethal, right? Infinite Patrons gets to summon Echo, run it into a Scion, and then die to Scion Reborn?
I have to imagine that Infinite Patrons is not going to attack with this Echo.
I think they... Oh, man, what are your outs? I guess... Oh, this
15 time bombs in a row.
I almost feel like your best bet is run Echo into Scion and then time trick into Quicksand. Okay, but we're just gonna Mystic Shot immediately.
Okay. Yeah. Floppy just runs it out. That's fine.
Yeah,
let's play.
Either top deck Quicksand or you're dead, and it looks like that is not going to be an option for Infinite Patrons, who I didn't even check if Quicksand's in their deck. There's a one of. There's a one of. Okay, so at least it existed.
It did at least exist, but not quite in the quantity they're looking for there. Floppy Mudkip ends up taking it down. It does advance on to our winners final there. So Floppy Mudkip making a run here. Boulevard already doing better than they did. Well, starting off the tournament better than they started off last week. But they are able to take it there after falling in that first game to Scouts, able to take down Echo Zillion 2-0. And Boulevard, you may have been right. What was it, 6 months ago or whatever? Echo Zillion trash confirmed.
It is 0-4 tonight, at least on camera so far. We got to see, you know, the full suite of it, and just unable to reduce any Nexus to 0. We might just get a rematch of last week's finals a little bit later on tonight in the winners bracket. As I think Monty and What Am I are still playing.
Yeah. And we are, in fact, Boulevard, going to be going to that game, Monte Cristo versus What Am I, once we get a chance to get in that game, which is right now.
I'm seeing a lot of things I don't normally see. Got Dreadway, Ren Shadowblade, a fully elusive lifesteal board.
Yep. That's what concurrent timelines will do. And this is game 3. So, oh boy. This is a wacky one. We have a silenced Dreadway, leveled up Gnar, leveled up Trundle, Ren Shadowblade.
That's a lot of quick attack and a lot of overwhelm.
Uh-huh.
Oh, but there's 2 concussive palm.
Trundle gets pumped up from Thermo Beam. I've never seen that happen. That's so funny.
The amount of times that I've been attacked by a Trundle Timelines player, and I'm like, okay, what's Trundle gonna get? Like +2, and then he just gets like +4 or +5. I'm like, hold on now. Let me see that deck list real quick. It probably is Thermo Beams, actually, now that I think about it. I never considered that, to be honest.
Yeah, neither did I until literally right now. So we get to see, is leveled Gnar, leveled Trundle better than leveled Zoe? And basically every keyword that you would want. All right, we do get the Gravitum here. So Monty, you wanted to get that 3 damage in for one reason or another. Maybe just wanted to use it as an effective pass here. Would it be punished, at least if he wanted to attack with Trundle?
I guess you've still got, I think that's a stance swap in hand? I'm very unfamiliar with the Udyr cards, as I'm sure most people are.
Yeah, that one is a little more... Yeah, that one... Let me see. Is that a stance swap? The answer is maybe.
Yeah, it looks like
probably
a Ram
is.
stance.
Yeah, that's from, I'm assuming, Vulpine Wanderer, which has actually played a decent amount. It's played a lot more than Udyr, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, there's the Ram stance. Going to pop a spell shield off of Zoe. Get a little bit of damage on some of these other units. Lifesteal not going to be relevant here because of quick attack. And potentially... Monty at least thinking that this might be good enough here with the burn in hand. What am I just going to put an end to that?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Monty's necessarily in danger of dying next turn. Not with a Wallop and a Troll Chant and a Harsh Wind. Certainly not, right?
Well... hand the Thermo Beam. I'm going to take out one of the 4 power units. I mean, 7 of this power is immediately going to be stopped from a Harsh Winds. That means there would be 2 elusive damage. Now, Lee Sin might throw a little bit of a wrench into that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how things look. Okay, Twin Discipline might be enough to do it because I'm looking at, Hush onto Lee Sin, but with the Iceveil Archer top deck, that might actually undo it as well. So I was like, yeah, you just hush your Lee Sin and you double Twin Discipline it and kick the Nexus for 6, but there's just so much defensive tools in Monty's hand.
Mm-hmm. The thing is that if these resources are going to be spent on Lee Sin, that means that they're not going to be spent on these other units. Ooh. And actually, Monty going for the, Lee Sin's whatever, don't care, I have a Harsh Winds.
Oh, yeah, that's... Monty has enough mana for... Monty has enough mana for Harsh Winds and Troll Chant. What Am I still has mana for Hush and another Twin Discipline.
Yep. Yeah, this is. I like this. I think both players are really trying to divide the threats or keep the. Going to try to stop. Obviously as much as possible. What am I? Yeah, there's the hush.
Oh, and going for the twin to get that Behold the Infinite.
Sure. Yeah, and at least another 3 life.
Yeah, representing lethal as well.
Oh, this is still lethal? Yeah.
Troll Chant can come out. Okay, gonna put the Gnar back in the hand. But that's still a fair amount of life gained on the side of What Am I?
Yeah, what am I's got to be perfectly happy about that. Essentially, effectively going back up to full. Board really not dealt with, at least not the major threats of the board. And in fact, nothing actually even killed on the board. Stuns,
now Lee Sin has lifesteal.
Hushes,
There's a couple denies. I don't think. Yeah, it looks like we are going to get a rematch of last week's grand finals in the winner bracket.
Yeah, I mean, Monty has a. I mean, even if there weren't all these cards in What Am I's hand to stop this, I mean, this is still not lethal, right? This is still. Even if it was just as is, it'd be 4, 8, 9. It'd only be 10 damage.
The Dreadway attack is actually actively detrimental at this point. You're just giving something for the Dragonling to lifesteal off of.
Yeah, not so sure about that one.
I mean, I guess otherwise it would have just blocked a quick attack unit, and I think that's net positive life for What Am I, but doesn't matter. That's a very nuanced thing that's pretty much irrelevant to the outcome of this game, as What Am I is going to take that one 2-1 over Monte Cristo.
Yeah. It was, I mean, that was a pretty wild board state that we came across there at the end of that game, but it is going to be What Am I taking that down, which, like you said, Boulevard, means we are getting a rematch of our grand finals from last week. There it is. What Am I taking it down 2-1? Oh,
I'm nervous, Blev. I'm a little nervous because I went back on the first break and I listened to what Am I said about me last week, and I'm scared what happens if you get him in the interview booth with me now.
Well, I can't. I will say that if I had to have someone that, was rage fueled by me, it would be What Am I, right? He's one of the most, sweet and sincere people in the community for sure. So it probably can't be too bad. Unless who knows? We'll see. Maybe What Am I gets to fully pop off. We'll see. But has to get there first, Boulevard. He's gonna have to get through Floppy Mudkip in the winners finals first. But before we get into that, we're gonna jump into a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We've got the winners finals coming up when we return. Welcome back, everyone, to Giant Slayer Fight Night Legends, brought to you by Wisdom. I am still Blevins. That is still Boulevard. And Boulevard, we've got some winners bracket finals to jump into. And while we're talking about that, let's take a look at that bracket.
I am so excited for this one. Blevins going to be What Am I up against Floppy Mudkip. As we had mentioned, What Am I managed to take down Floppy in the grand finals last week, where What Am I was the only player to be able to defeat that triple Demacia sort of menace that ran all the other fight nights with triple aggro on a completely different lineup this time around, though, with Lee Sin, Zoe, Soul Thresh, and Feel the Rush. Just the complete opposite end of the spectrum. What Am I really trying to flex his diversity as a player?
Yeah, it's the type of thing that What Am I has openly said, you know, he does not at least see himself as a specific archetype player. He will play what he thinks is the best. And last week, that was the triple burn, triple aggro lineup, whatever you want to call it. And this week, it is essentially the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And, you know, Soul Thresh, I think, being, you know, not really played a whole heck of a lot, especially outside a tournament, but even so, is probably the control of all control decks, with maybe the exception of TLC being more of a control deck. But even then, I don't know. This is like a win on turn 30 type of deck.
Yeah, my mind always goes to Anivia when we talk about like pinnacle control in Legends of Runeterra. But I mean, What Am I's been on this Soul Thresh, really the only player to consistently be on it. I mean, since Thresh Nasus really first came out, What Am I said, I can do a little bit better, and would run a lot of Zillion Nasus and Soul Thresh in his lineup, and very convinced of that deck, and it's just really kind of stuck onto that as his hallmark go-to What Am I deck for the time being. Feel the Rush I have had to keep on my tournament tier list solely because What Am I will not stop playing it and will not stop topping with it, and really no one else is touching the deck at the moment, or even does when What Am I still finds it to be good.
Yeah, it's a type of deck that for a while was in vogue, and I think a lot of players picked it up and played it and had fun with it. But it is, you know, it's not super popular. You get bored of it. You don't want to play it. And if you're not putting in the reps and you don't know the matchup tables, you don't know what's important, the win cons, etc., the deck will underperform. It's certainly a deck that you can really wring out the last drip of water and still be satisfied with it. But also, like, you're not strong enough to get that initial burst of water out of that raggedy old FTR towel. You know, you are going to, you know, you're going to be thirsty. So, Floppy Mudkip here, of course, his opponent, no slouch himself, like we mentioned earlier on in the show, tied for the most number of wins in Fight Night, tied with Ultraman on the EU side. So a win here, Boulevard, at tonight's Fight Night would mean that Floppy is undisputed all-time winningest Fight Night player.
Blevins, what was that analogy about the Feel the Rush towel?
Oh, okay. So, like, okay, you got a
yeah.
got a
so
towel,
Feel the Rush is a
and
towel, and I'm like,
waterlogged.
I sure am thirsty.
You don't have the hand strength, and you're not gripping like a champion. You know, you're gonna, you know.
All right, I see.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
Die out in the desert. But what am I? Is swole able to just wring the towel, get every last drop, and survive? You know,
every last little
player.
bit of juice. Yeah.
Yeah, a lesser player, not quite strong enough, and you know, wouldn't be able to get there. That I thought, chat, was that not a very dead-on analogy there? I mean, come on.
I see someone in chat wishing that What Am I was on it. Oh no, that's not What Am I's Captain Fair, and that's Mudkip's Captain Fair. Never mind. Yeah, we're off the decimates for now.
I love how chat just, even though I don't ask it, just knows to put a 2 in when they don't agree with what I'm saying.
I always forget which number it is. I always put the agree one, but
it's
whether
one.
I mean
One
it or
agree.
not,
Yeah.
I know that you could use the boost. But got our first game underway. FTR versus Draven Scion. You know, I feel like, if I remember correctly, this matchup is one of the reasons that She Who brought FTR to Worlds.
I could see it. I could definitely see it. This is a classic matchup for sure. I mean, certainly the decks have gotten a few new tools, but our deck, the newest card is, I think, Piercing Darkness.
Probably.
And that's like a tech card, and it is like a card that very easily could have been in the base set in terms of like complexity and power level.
Yeah.
So basically the same old deck we're used to here.
Yeah, meanwhile, on the side of Floppy, there are no cards from anything past, sort of the original Draven Scion build. Nothing from the last couple of sets, no upgrades from A Curious Journey or Magic Misadventure.
Nope. Yeah, I think the newest cards are going to be the Reborn Grenadier and Fallen Rider and Boom Baboon. Again, I don't remember when these, like,
Well, I mean, all the Scion cards came out and beyond the Bandlewood, so those are all, yeah.
There we go.
I know they're not Bandle City, so we tend to forget, like, we just lump all of this Bandle City stuff together and forget what's new.
Yeah, I forget when these cards, yeah, that's right. That was, Scion, Boom Baboon, Fallen Rider, Lost Soul, Grenadier. In my mind, they all came out in the first set. So, if it wasn't Bilgewater, it didn't come out in Rising Tides. If it wasn't, Targon, it didn't come out, and so on and so forth. All of the original regions came out in the first set, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyways, we're into the match. Turn 5. Not a whole heck of a lot has happened. Floppy Mudkip got actually a pretty sizable board here, and what am I only being on 8 mana means we're not going to be able to get the massive Ruination to potentially punish this. Floppy could theoretically just go wide here and do at least a decent chunk of damage here.
Yeah, we did just see, I believe it was an Avalanche out of What Am I on the previous turn, so obviously the threat of a second one is still there, but you will at least get through a little bit of damage with the Sump Dredger. Floppy really debating it, maybe even debating what to discard, because if there is an Avalanche, you want to be able to Spinning Axe one of your units up to 5 attack, and then guarantee that that'll be the one that's hit by survival skills when you discard that with Poro Cannon.
Right. The classic Floppy hand count. Usually the most important metric for Floppy to be aware of, considering the number of times he has near 10 cards in his hand.
Yeah. I usually just eyeball it. It works 100% of the time that it works.
It always works until it doesn't. That's how these things tend to work.
Right, so it looks like this will be, the Spinning Axe to guarantee that is where our survival skills is going. Follow that up with the actual Poro Cannon onto survival skills.
Yeah.
And you're looking at a lot of damage coming through, as the Withering Wail will kill nothing and gain life while you're still at 20.
Yeah, so this is just the full 13 coming through.
Yeah. It does set up for a beautiful Bladed Ravine, though.
Sure. And here's the thing. What Am I really only needs that last point of life. There's a decent amount of life gain in the deck. There's a ton of different removal spells. And really, the win condition can come online in literally a single card in the Field of Rush. So What Am I can really just hold out, control the board, gain some life, ping some things off here and there, and then end the game in, over the course of very few turns of the Field of Rush.
Yeah, you mentioned the only point in life that What Am I is going to need is that last one, and I feel like Floppy's going to call him on that one, put him down to that 1 HP and be like, yeah, you better. Just a very expensive and awkward hand from What Am I. Clunked up on the Double Vengeance, the Tryndamere, and the Atrocity. The Atrocity isn't necessarily what you want to see, but it is going to help you end the game immediately after you Field of Rush, which is going to be kind of important, as What Am I is going to have to Field of Rush on Floppy's attack turn.
Right. It's looking like Vile Feast maybe deciding what target. On the one hand, the Vile Feast, you want to Vile Feast to 4-1, right? That feels great, but then you can't actually block the Poro. Funny enough, Vile Feasting the Poro saves you more damage because the Vile Feast will kill the Poro, and then the Spiderling can block the 4-1. Yeah.
Maybe even debating the Ruination, saying, if there is a Boom Baboon, which is the most damage that I can take for that last 2 mana, am I okay with that?
Right. I guess technically there could be a Fallen Rider or Risen Rider you could create.
Yeah.
But even so, that's only 4 damage. Plus, another 3 from a Get Excited, and you're still not dead.
Yeah, you are falling down to 6 here. Mudkip does have that Captain Farron in hand.
Yeah, this is a good old-fashioned Captain Farron versus Vengeance. Both cards have been, changed since their onset or their creation, but still seen play today. Captain Farron not quite as much as he once did.
There have been times where I'm like, maybe Captain Farron can go back to 3 decimates, and then he falls out of the meta for a while. And then I even see him in a deck like this, in a match like this, where he's, as you had mentioned, pretty removed from the meta, and I just see the 2 decimates, and I'm like, nah, he should stick with 2.
Yeah. Sure is a lot of damage.
Yeah. And it's looking actually just like lethal on this turn for Floppy Mudkip. Has the double decimate plus the Mystic Shot, the mana to cast it all. Oh, Piercing Darkness might change some things.
Yeah, Piercing Darkness plus Vile Feast. That's a Farron down, 6 life gained. Still awkward.
Yeah.
We do have 12 mana. Now, can we... What if we feel the rushed? How dead are we if we feel it? I guess pretty dead, considering we know there's a Flame Chompers. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty definitely dead, too, if we feel the rush there. So, yeah. Please don't tell me Floppy's considering a pass here. There's just no way.
There's no way. There's no way. You would attack at the very least, right?
I mean, there have been times where I have said that very same thing, and then I see Floppy hit the pass button.
That's fair.
I do think that he went back and, perhaps in the chat said, maybe I probably shouldn't have done that or something to that effect, but either way. Also, is it just me, or is this Captain Farron look tiny right now?
Yeah, he does look farther away than usual.
He looks further away, and also like the card frame with Overwhelm looks weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weirdly, those like tiny Captain Farron.
It's different.
Like,
I miss the old Farron, the big bad Farron.
Yeah,
This is a little guy.
I am Captain Farron.
Yeah, that's Private Benjamin.
Private Benjamin. Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact. His first name is Ben.
Is that real, or is that
Yeah,
fake?
his flavor text is like young Ben Farron wanted to ascend the ranks of the Noxian army, and I'm like, this is the guy? We've all been afraid of Ben?
Well, little Benny Farron.
Well, little Benny is taken out one way or the other. What am I knows that there's 8 points of burn in the hand, saying, you know what? Cast it. Don't have anything else after that, please, and thank you. Yep, unfortunately for What Am I, we know that there is the full lethal Floppy Mudkip wasting no time here. What Am I and Floppy Mudkip send out the GGs, and that's going to be game number 1. Going to Floppy Mudkip. All right, so... able to take down the, I think you're saying maybe an unfavored matchup there in the Draven Scion Vi deck versus FTR. I think traditionally that control deck goes a little bit bigger, gains a lot from the removal and life gain, but not able to take it there. Captain Farron, old Benny boy, able to take it down for Floppy.
Yeah, I think there were some differences in like the worlds list that She Who Ran versus this one. A big one being like the box, because there are a lot of 3 HP units in that Draven Scion deck, which, a card that What Am I is just not on, instead getting clunked up on like Vengeances, which were more absent from the listed worlds because it was still 7 mana. So yeah, a little bit of a clunky hand there from What Am I. I think his hand costs like 45 mana or something along those lines.
Even if it didn't, it sure felt like it did.
Oh, yeah, but this matchup, I feel like the Vengeance is going to come in a lot more clutch. They're going to be trading pretty mana neutral on a lot of the cards here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you think about this this Nar Sejuani deck and what it was made in response to, and the answer is certainly not FTR.
No.
Like, decidedly not FTR is the matchups that this deck is looking to play against. I think the different removal spells, as well as the life gain, and the fact that like the Sejuani the Marquee combo, you just don't really care all that much about. I mean, it can be annoying if you get it online, and then I guess your giant units are shut down. But even so, Trundle still gains attack when he attacks.
Yeah, I feel you on that one. It's one of those things where, you know, you're preparing your decks the night before, you're talking to one of your friends that plays the game, and you're like, you know, what? Okay, but like I lose to Feel the Rush, and they look you in the eye and they say, well, who's going to bring Feel the Rush? You know, are you really worried about that?
Yep. And then What Am I looks into the camera and winks.
What Am I's the one telling it to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, What Am I and Floppy Mudkip working on deck lists together? Who in their right mind would play FTR here? And then, you know, What Am I has a Grinch-esque smile while looking into the camera. This heart grew 3 sizes that day.
It looks like this is going to be a really big turn for Mudkip, though. Going to be able to get down 2 copies of Ancient Yeti alongside this little Overwhelm unit. Unless he wants to develop the double Teeny Dactyl, that is another option.
They're both good. I mean, so on the one hand, Teeny Dactyl, it's not a foregone conclusion that it's going to be, you know, quote, leveled up or transformed. So taking this seems fine. The other thing is that the Ancient Yetis, while 2 mana is a very good reduction, they're not getting worse, right? Next turn, they're going to be 1 mana, and your next attack token, they're going to be 0. So definitely don't mind that. This potentially was going to be a completely brutal turn by What Am I clearing off most of the board here, but now both Teeny Dactyls survive and are now Terror Dactyls, and they're going to be pinging for 2 a turn here until they are dealt with, which they pretty reasonably can be.
The pass from What Am I makes sense. One of the reasons that I was leaning towards the Ancient Yetis on the previous turn is because What Am I didn't have Ruination mana, and there's a good chance that if you try to get them down for 0, you might walk into a Ruination.
True.
But you might not be too upset about that, because, you know, you can play the Sejuani first. What Am I's going to go, okay, you're down to 2 mana, let me Ruinate, and then boom, here's 2 0-mana Yetis. I think might be what Floppy was hanging these on for. But we'll see how it all plays out. There is no Ruination in What Am I's hand, so that's not even an option.
Piercing Darkness going to do a decent amount of work here. I almost don't mind. I guess the open attack's not really even that good. So yeah, I do like the Ancient Yetis as, you know, Ruination insurance, I guess.
Yeah, it could have been really good for Floppy on this turn with the cadence and the bluffing and all that kind of stuff, but unfortunately What Am I has a free pillar to just pass priority back with that's going to force Floppy to either, you know, maybe, I guess the Conchologist just fits perfectly in here.
Yeah. Conchologist is nice. You could lead with Conchologist. I don't mind, I guess, freezing Trundle. Again, that's sort of opening the Ruination line regardless. If What Am I gets greedy and doesn't want a Ruination, just take your free Trundle Eat, as well as, you know, 12 additional damage. If the Ruination is there, then you have, you know, you're getting 12 in one way or the other, I think. So I do actually really like the Sejuani. I think if you open with Conchologist and there's no Ruination, it gets a lot harder to play the Sejuani. Or if there's not a Ruination played, it gets a lot harder to play the Sejuani after that, which maybe isn't the worst. Maybe just attack with that, but I like this board and this line a lot better.
And it looks like What Am I... Okay, like, picked up the Trundle for a second, and I was like, don't you want to level the Trundle? You know, maybe you don't play Tryndamere first. You know, maybe you play the Pillar, see how that goes. It's not gonna... Floppy's not pushing a lot of damage here, because the Alpha Wildclaw is not pushing any damage. That's just going to trade with the Trundle. It really does depend on if he wants to throw down these Alpha Wildclaws. Just how spicy are you feeling? You're already up a game, you know? Why not make a series out of it? Why not try to steal the win as quickly as possible? Sit in that winner's final for the next 2 hours, go take a nap, make dinner, whatever you got to do.
Right. All right, there's leveled up Trundle. All right, attack coming through now.
Yep, playing it safe, not falling into the Ruination. I feel like if you played Conchologist, is there any punish other than Ruination?
If you play Conchologist, Another avalanche makes things maybe a little awkward.
Maybe, but I feel like once What Am I's below Ruination mana, you just slam down those Yetis and go all out this turn.
Yeah, that's fair too.
But still, fair amount of damage pushed. Tryndamere coming down, and What Am I is actually very close to lethal.
Yeah, Tryndamere plus other Tryndamere, just a classic way to push just a ton of damage. But Sejuani leveled. We see like a pokey stick. We've got a way to proc Sejuani this turn. Or an ice shard. That is huge. Because now we get to...
Oh, but the What Am I special, where he initially played Battle Fury in his They Who Endure deck to play around Frostbites, so...
Yeah. Although, I guess, could you just block maybe with a terror? I don't know. I guess you want to keep the...
The wide board is the advantage that you have right now.
But this doesn't play around it, though. The Battle Fury doesn't work, because it's fast speed.
Oh, true.
Okay, so this just works. Mudkip, I guess not wanting to level the Tryndamere. Although, I don't know how much benefit there is to keeping the Tryndamere alive. Also, we can kill Sedge. We can pillar Sedge here. Not going to.
Pillar?
Not pillar. What's the
Entomb?
5 mana? Entomb, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
All right, well, that option still exists next turn, but now we're under Ruination mana. There sure are 2 slots open on your board.
On your field right now, yeah.
And there are 2 5/5 Yetis that can come through.
Oh, man.
Granted, although actually this board is going to be a lot less scary after this Blighted Ravine goes off, so I could see maybe not wanting to do that.
Yeah, I'm starting to worry that Floppy Mudkip might have passed the point where these Yetis were at their best. It's not like they're ever going to be bad, but...
It literally may... it literally may be... When you cast a Ruination, I all of a sudden have 10 damage to hit you with.
Yeah, I think What Am I just has lethal now, though. Unless, actually, I think this is where you kind of want to throw down these Yetis. But the problem is, like, you'd have to do it into the 13 mana, because What Am I is not entombing that Sejuani until the next turn. Ugh. Also, if you Battle Fury Tryndamere, you do just trade with Sejuani even through Battle Fury.
Yeah?
And that you still have Flash Freeze on your 3 sisters if you want to prevent a lot of the damage. I think if Floppy goes for the attack here, that might just be exactly what Am I does. Sejuani ability, it's off the table for the turn. It's already been used.
Right. Can't refreeze. Are you putting the Battle Fury onto the Sedge, though, is the question? Or is it on the Wild Claw?
I guess the question is, if What Am I blocks Sejuani and Battle Furies, do you Battle Fury in response? Well, you wouldn't Battle Fury in response, right? Because it's not saving it. You would do it on the other unit, which I guess then just gets flash frozen anyway.
Yeah. I mean, What Am I is probably not going to die here.
Okay. Well, if we play the Yetis, maybe.
Yeah, that is true. The 2 Yetis might change this calculus quite a bit. Here's the thing. Floppy Mudkip had the ability to flip the Tryndamere, and we'd be in the same spot, right? I guess Tryndamere would have a lot more health, but would still be frozen. If a Ruination comes down, What Am I still has a Tryndamere after the fact. So,
I guess you would pokey stick the Tryndamere in response to Ruination.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Still, I guess...
All right, looks like we're just going FTR.
Yeah, you have a big board? No. I have a big board.
Okay, so Battle Fury still up for Floppy Mudkip, as is another Ancient Yeti that's about to come down. I haven't been able to map this out.
We play Ancient Yeti. We block the biggest things. Block. We block there with a chump. A 5/5 gets through. 2 5/5s get through.
If 2 5/5s
I think
through,
I think this might actually be over. I think Floppy Mudkip gets
thinking
there.
you're right, yeah. Got 3 blockers to 5 units. One more unit, all right.
Sure.
Yeah, might as well. All right, maybe we thought that maybe the time of the Ancient Yeti had passed, but that's not quite the case. We do eventually just slam it down, even in the face of Ruination, and Floppy Mudkip's going to be rewarded with it.
Yeah.
With a trip to the Grand Finals over the player that knocked him out last week. What am I?
Yeah. Teeth as big as tombstones! Yeah, gonna take it here. Yeah, Trinimir blocking the 5/5 blocks less than blocking the Conchologist, funny enough. Yeah, 12 going through regularly. Battle Fury onto an Ancient Yeti. Gonna take it down. What am I? Sends out the GG. And like you just called, Boulevard, Floppy Mudkip going to yet another Grand Finals. Yet another invite back to Fight Night. And a shot. And a favored shot at being the winningest Fight Night player, period. Going for their 5th win. They're going to be in a great position to take that one down here going into the Grand Finals.
And it makes sense, right? I mean, you got Boulevard on the cast. Something historic has to go down tonight. Speaking of historic things, do you, off the top of your head, know the most that a player has been invited back-to-back on Fight Night? Because Floppy has just secured his 5th invite in a row.
I think Jay Tamunda also at 5 is
Jay
my
Tamunda
guess.
did put on a clinic with Sivarakshan, Scion.
Yep, Scion Draven back 2-3 seasons ago.
I think I even popped in for one of those.
You very well may have. I know Jay Tamunda was on an absolute tear back then. I believe he either had 4 or 5. So Floppy Mudkip potentially, pulling the Mark McGuire and breaking multiple home run records this Fight Night, or in this run at least. We shall see if Floppy is going to be able to take it. I'm sure Ultraman is sitting at home watching right now at the edge of his seat at 4 a.m. or whatever, just hoping don't break the record. I need to be here. Does not want to lose that throne. I'm sure that's exactly what he's doing right now. But what we're doing right now is taking a quick break before we jump down to that loser side to continue out the rest of the bracket to see who will be making their way to play against Floppy Mudkip. But we are going to be taking that break. Don't go anywhere. You're going to want to see how this one plays out when we get back. Welcome back to Giant Slayer Fight Night Legends, brought to you by Wisdom. I am Blevins. With me is Boulevard, and we are on into the losers bracket here, Boulevard, and we've got a match here to see who is going to be playing against What Am I in the losers bracket finals. Let's take a look at that bracket, Boulevard.
Yeah, you know, taking a look at the journey on how we got here. What Am I taking out Monte Cristo, falling to Floppy Mudkip there, and it's going to be Zach TCG versus BNT for the right to play them, with Zach taking out Skathis and Infinite Patrons, while BNT took out Monte Cristo and Samson. So we're down to our top four. Everybody left is in the money, and Blevins, I'm excited to see where this takes us.
Yeah, and this is interesting because this does not usually happen, or at least I don't notice it happening too often, but both Zach TCG and BNT lost in the first round, and both won against players who won their first round and, you know, knocked them out. So I guess the technically underdog kind of winning here, and, you know, both of these players, you know, losing in the first round, and potentially one of them will be making it into the losers bracket finals face against What Am I? So potentially a little bit of a Cinderella story here leading into this. But right now we've got BNT versus Zach TCG, both relative newcomers to the Fight Night scene. I'm looking at chat. We got a couple of fans on both sides here. BNT from BR, Zach TCG, I believe, from from NA. So we'll have to see who's able to take it out on top. But Boulevard, BNT's got an interesting lineup here. The only player we mentioned earlier, the only player on the Demacia Fae deck.
BNT has, I would say, the least interesting lineup, like ranked 8 out of 8 for the night. Yordles at Arms Rally, Scouts, and Pantheon Yumi Demacia. This was last week's lineup, BNT.
Right.
Get with the program. Meanwhile, on the side of Zach TCG, we have Noxus, Bandletree, Darkness, and Lee Sin Zoe. Sort of the control lineup that we were seeing day one after A Curious Journey came out. You know, Gnar went into the Bandletree, and then these other just very powerful decks that have been running the tournament scene for quite some time. So I think in the head-to-head, BNT is going to be favored. This is the Demacia, the triple Demacia lineup that pushed out these control lineups. Yeah,
this feels like a one-to-one, I am running the counter to your lineup. Yeah. Like pretty bread and butter straight up. But we have seen crazier things happen in competitive Runeterra for sure. There's definitely a play diff to be had potentially. So taking a look here, we got Zach TCG rocking the Soul Dynasty jersey. Love to see it. Looks like maybe at a Pokemon tournament or some other sort of IRL TCG. Oh no, yeah. There's a Pokemon judge in the background. That's the
I know
giveaway there.
Two things about Zach TCG, which are: one, he's got TCG in his name. Two, he had the balls to bring Lee Sin to his first Fight Night, which leads me to believe that he knows how to play the deck. We've seen a lot of players come in from high levels at other card games, you know, gravitate towards that Lee Sin Zoe deck and then just run with it. I'm talking like Yost with the most, Kevor most famously, like. Usually it's Magic players. I don't think we've had a lot of players convert from Pokemon and jump on the Lee Sin, so I'm curious to... I mean, it's worked out for Zach so far.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not super familiar with competitive Pokemon decks, but I know, you know, Magic Lee Sin actually lines up pretty decently with like a, you know, a combo tempo deck. Makes a lot of sense.
It's Delver.
Everything's
Delver.
Really Delver.
Everything's Delver.
Back in my day, that meant something. Now
I do like to imagine like peeking over Zach's shoulder at a Pokemon tournament, like, what cards you got there? And you just see a Lee Sin on the table, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah.
It's funny because the Flesh and Blood deck that that Majin Bay runs right now is essentially the closest thing to a Lee Sin deck. It's pretty funny. It's like a build up a bunch of they're called rune chants, but they deal damage. Just build up a million things, set up for one combo turn and kill them in one turn. So he's literally playing Lee Sin in Flesh and Blood. So does not matter what game Majin is playing, he's still playing Lee Sin.
Well, you know, there's something to be said about a man that knows what he likes.
True. But we are here. We've got... Oh, I didn't actually know BNT is on Hydra, or at least is rocking the Hydra tag. That does not necessarily mean that they're on Hydra.
Their Twitter is pretty Hydra'd out, so it would be either they're just a big fan or they're on Hydra. My guess would be the latter.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I've seen a lot of people that have like TSM in their name and like are TSM'd out on Twitter, but they are not on TSM.
I think there's a bit of a difference between a Tier 1 org and Team Hydra.
All I'm saying is TSM does not have a big presence at LoR Seasonal every season.
That's
so,
true. I think I've never seen a TSM player
confirmed.
in the top 32.
True. Org diff confirmed. Also, by the way, if TSM, if you're looking for players to reach out to, hit me up. I can help you out. But if you're looking to get into LOR. Anyways, we are here. This is the Pantheon's... what is this Pantheon?
Yuumi.
It's just straight up Pantheon Yuumi. 3 Yuumi. Now, this is something that we don't usually see, is the 3 of Yuumi. Usually it is a 3 Pantheon, 2 of another champion, whether that's it's usually Tarek, could even be Fiora. I saw one of my playing a Pepsi Cola list that was 3 Pantheon, 2 Fiora, 1 Yuumi. The reason being that Yuumi doesn't die, right? Yuumi never dies because she's an attached unit, which means the second, and in this deck, 3rd Yuumi that you draw are always going to be the champion spell, which sucks. Or at the very least, it's not great. You don't want the, I don't even know what it's called. It is,
yeah, Yumi's champion spell is so bad, I do not know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it does. I just know it's not good.
Yeah, it's 2 mana, fast speed, deal 1 damage to a unit, grant an ally +1/+0. The most underwhelming card you can imagine.
I've conchologized into this a few times. I didn't realize this was Yumi's champion spell. But
yeah.
Personally, I'm a big fan of, I think we've seen the Europeans do it a few times, of the 2 Yuumi and the 1 Tarek, because you do want to draw that Yuumi. And I feel like since the release of A Curious Journey, we've just seen players infinitely more willing to go for a triple champion split in a lot of decks. Which makes sense. A lot of the newer champion spells are pretty underwhelming.
I don't mind. I actually prefer having 3 champions in this style of deck. And I like specifically having 1 Yuumi. I could see the second one potentially if you really want to have that Yuumi and you're willing to essentially pay the cost of having the second one. Or potentially wanting to run out the Yuumi as just a unit. That's also not out of the realm of possibility. But either way, BNT rocking the full 3 Yuumis, and well, this is Bandletree, so we're gonna have to see if BNT is able to run Zach TCG down in time before the Bandletree pops off.
I mean, BNT, I was going to say BRT, the capital R in Hydra's throwing me off, but Overwhelm is going to be the name of the game here. Can BNT push through enough Overwhelm damage? Because Koopa?
No, that's got to just
Zach
be their
TCG,
in-game
okay,
name.
yeah. I was trying to remember the name of the actual player, and I was like, oh, I'll just read it off the player card. That's not right. Zach TCG is always going to have a wider board. That is just a matter of fact.
Right.
BNT's just really got to push through the Overwhelm, but you only have so many Zenith Blades. There is currently no Pantheon in sight to, buff itself up, get the Overwhelm going. So you really just are all in on this, and there's plenty of answers in the hand of Zach at the moment.
Yeah. Has the mini morph, if things go completely awry. Has another Bandletree, which probably not super relevant. Even got a Doom Beast off of the Bandletree, which is pretty good at keeping things, keeping life totals high. Granted, it's not actually going to gain any life here, but it is going to chip away at BNT here.
Yep, gets the Shadow Isle unit down. I guess next we run out the Shurima unit, unless we've already played one.
Well,
no Shurima yet. Willing to run the risk of generating a Shurima unit because it's, it's a 1 in 5. Not bad odds.
Yeah, not too shabby. All right, BNT is going to diversify the threats here. Makes sense. And Koopa gonna now I'm doing the same thing. Zach TCG going to diversify the answers with a second mini morph drawn. Oh, and the explosive. That's a high roll.
If we can
That
get
is a
another
massive
card
high roll.
Doesn't look like we're going to be able to. Looks like that will just be the attack here.
Okay, yeah, that would have been a very greedy develop. I feel like now is the time to cash in at least one mini morph.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, the Yumi! That's right! Oh, Yumi stays on through mini morph. I always forget.
I was gonna say I probably would have thrown out the group shot there while I still had the 4 units. You know, try to. It looks like just willing to use the Buster shot instead, which is totally fine.
Yeah, except now guiding touch.
Yeah, that's true. Guiding touch will get you out of this.
I think that was a miscalc. It has to be, right? I mean, you've
still got the group shot to finish off through guiding touch, but there is still the sharp sight. That is a lot of resources out of B&T's hand.
That's true.
You're still sitting at 17 on the side of Zach.
And this all could have been avoided if we pre-developed the group shot, or the group shot. I mean, that is it's a weird interaction. B, I just straight up forget that's how that works.
I've played enough mini-morph decks to remember. Oh! Shady character.
Okay.
All right, let's...
I mean, not super great right now.
It would have been... we get a very large blocker.
Wait.
But
oh, that's right. That's not a champion. Wait, hold on?
I don't think you get a Yumi, right?
There's no way.
There's no way. It
says exact copy.
Yeah.
It says exact copy.
Are you an 8/7 or are you a 6/5? If you're not
I'm
getting
be
the Yumi,
upset if we don't get a Yumi.
We probably don't even get to find out because B&T's likely to either concerted strike this or Bastion. I don't even know if Bastion protects you from shady character.
I have no idea.
Okay.
Okay, what happens?
B&T for science will let us figure it out. Okay, it's going to be a 6/7?
There's no way that makes any sense.
I guess you're counting the Yumi buff as... So, like, this thing is an 8/10. And so you tried to turn into an 8/8 that has, 1 damage. Okay, it doesn't really make sense. I can't even, pretend on this. And it just immediately gets blinded
Show your
Mystic.
work, Ruben. Someone clip this and send this to Ruben Zoo and ask him to explain why that happened. Okay, and hold on. And preface the clip with, what happens when this what does this unit become when this resolves?
See if Ruben can tell you first, then tell him what actually happened.
Yes, I want to know. Someone please clip this and send it and tag me in the tweet thread. I want to see it.
Me as well. This is looking like a really good game for Zach to pick up the win. It has done a very good job of stifling all the overwhelm damage. Still has that second mini morph. The Bandle tree has been taken away, currently now at 8 out of 10.
Yep, didn't even care about losing the 1/1 as we already had Shadow Isles.
I think we actually win. I think we're missing Targon and Demacia, which we have in hand for 7 mana.
And enough to pay it.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly no way for BNT to win from this position. Even if there was a rally, Zach TCG still not dead here. Even if there was a rally and there was no units in play for Zach TCG, would still be over here. And that is going to be game number 1. Zach TCG Bandle Tree. There it is. We get to see the animation. Game number 1.
So, a little bit unexpected, but, there was no Pantheon. The Wounded White Flames were dealt with a lot faster than I thought they would be for sure, especially with the Zenith Blade opener. Like, I thought B&T had a great opener there and just wasn't able to connect the damage and the pieces in a way that they needed to. On top of, that's what happens when you get to play Bandle Tree on 5. You win the game a lot faster. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about Yumi as well. I think Yumi is a card that can make your units very, very large and go very tall. But when you're playing against a mini morph deck, even though we saw that sort of little bit of sloppiness with the not playing around the interaction with Yumi and mini morph, regardless, still ended up working because you are able to deal with those tall threats very well. You're also able to deal with wide threats very well with the Vandal Tree deck, just because of, you know, what you're playing, a bunch of small units. Now, if you have a wide, tall overwhelm board, that's where BNT really needed to be. And, you know, all of the other cards in Zach TCG's deck just say, no, I'm not going to allow that.
All right, things should be a little bit better for BNT this time around. You know, just getting off to a little bit of a better start. You have that really aggressive opener against a deck that really wants to take it to the late game, but unfortunately, you know, Zach also opening with double Twisted Catalyzer. So normally you don't expect Darkness to be able to kill anything in this matchup because of the Faded and all the combat tricks, but with the double Catalyzer opener, that's as good as it's going to get in terms of potentially killing anything with Darkness.
Yeah, absolutely. Double Twisted Catalyzer is great. I would imagine we're going to see 2 blocks here. No reason for there. Not really any reason not to. We're going to even see our 4-drop come down. Reduce the cost of Darkness. And now we need a Darkness Enabler. And I got to say, the Wallop really did open this deck up a lot. I think, you know, before Wallop came out, Darkness had much more of a struggle with these, you know, Pantheon decks or even Scouts, these other aggressive decks. You know, if they have these big units and they have a key unit that you need to block, maybe with Overwhelm, don't really have a lot of resources to deal with it efficiently. Now with the Wallop, you've got a 3 mana, just stop it. You don't care about the additional effect. You didn't need, you know, you don't need a 3/2 to come out of it like if it was Concussive Palm. You just need to stun a unit, and you just want to pay 3 mana, and that's exactly what Wallop does for you.
Yeah, it sort of took over the stress defense slot, which was nice because, you know, you could use it on your own units, get them to 6 health, but there was a problem, especially once attached units slipped into the meta, where you would stress defense something, and all of a sudden, you know, it's a 3/8 with double strike, and you're like, okay, well, that's not great for me. Stunning it, a much cleaner answer. You trade a little bit of protection, but honestly, it's worth it.
Yep. Yeah, and I think the Darkness players, for the most part, have really honed in on the fact that Vygar is the main win condition of the deck, and you are basically doing everything you can to protect Vygar. But you don't necessarily need to dedicate slots to protecting Vygar. You can just play a little bit differently, play around, you know, some of the potential cards that your opponent could have to stop that.
Ooh, and even going for the Wallop here rather than the mini morph. Saying, you know what? I want to see you pump a few more resources into this before I completely take it off the table for you. I really like when players go for something like that. You know, saying, you're all in on this. I want to see you go more all in. I don't want to see diversification of your threats. I want to see you try to take this one home and then rip it away from you. Yeah,
I think the potential issue with this is that 8/6 is... It's going to take a decent... Oh, okay, it's only a 6/6. It's only a 6/6, and Yuumi is basically the perfect answer to that problem that Zach TCG would be presenting, in that it doesn't really... You know, Yuumi, obviously, as we saw last game, plays very well into the mini morph.
Yeah.
While also pumping the unit.
At the moment, Zach is in a phenomenal spot. Once you have a Vengeance on backup on top of that mini morph against this Pantheon deck, you know, because they are just going so tall on one unit, they have to take time to build a second unit up. They have to take cards to do that. So once you mini morph the first one and they're like, okay, now I swap to the next Faded unit, they pump 2 or 3 cards into that, you Vengeance it, they don't have a lot of cards left. That next Faded unit isn't going to be as much of a problem. That said, we do need to find some way to win the game. Because if you let your opponent sit there and draw 1 card a turn for 10 turns while you're digging for a Darkness or a champion, then, you know, they will eventually draw the cards to build up a 3rd and maybe even a 4th threat.
It's possible. I don't know if you're going to be drawing them at the rate that Darkness is going to be able to answer them, though, is the real thing.
It's true.
You're able to, you know, obviously if your opponent's drawing a card a turn, you're drawing at least that, right? And there's so many threats that would be quite good into a lot of what BNT is doing here. And BNT actually even going for the second Zenith Blade without Sunburst. So not going to be not actually even going to get another Zenith Blade here.
All right, goes for the chump block because there is Bastion in BNT's deck. Not in hand, though, so this is all going to work out.
Looks like this is going to be single onto the 3/4 just to push some damage.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, so Darkness should be at 4 damage, 2 mana.
Yep.
So, not enough to kill this unit. Even I guess Senna can't block it, or it can't block Senna rather, which is nice.
It will be able to block Senna now.
Well, you can throw 2 Darkness at it.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
Draws the immediately punished by drawing the 3rd Zenith Blade. You hate to see it.
I mean, not necessarily super punished, right? If this unit dies, they do want another Zenith Blade.
Yeah, I meant more so that if you had grabbed that Zenith Blade, then you would have drawn a real card.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just try to target Cataclysm with Darkness.
You know what? You should be able to do that.
Yeah, let me counter his spell.
Oh, right. The Cataclysm is going to give an additional +1/+1 because of Fated.
Yep.
We are up to 8/6. And we can still kill this unit, technically.
Yeah, it'll just, not this turn, down to just 2 mana.
Yeah, no, I guess we can't, actually. All right, that's all 3 Zeniths, which means that this mini-morph feels a lot better. This mini-morph feels pretty good here. We're now basically in only caring about Pantheon territory.
And not out of the woods just yet, but definitely getting there.
I will say there are a lot more blanks in BNT's deck right now than there are in Zach TCG's, for sure.
BNT's doing a pretty good job of trying to remount this offense, but Blev, I just don't know if it's going to be enough. There's no answer for this Senna this time around, and with the Darkness being as much damage as it is, with BNT being on low as cards as they are, you're really not going to be able to keep everything out of the range of that Darkness forever, and we still got Mini-Morph mana on the side of Koopa, so the Overwhelm is completely gone from the deck at this point.
Here's the thing. Even Pantheon... Pick your Pantheon. If Pantheon's off the top, pick your whatever abilities you want on it. You're still going to be able to kill it with the Darkness. It's not going to be bigger than that, right? Even if it has Spell Shield and Barrier and... I guess Spell Shield, Barrier, and Tough would keep it a lot. No, actually it wouldn't, because there's a group shot. And there's 2 pings and a Darkness to finish it off, so...
Yeah.
Even Pantheon off the top is dead. That has to be the best draw here. This one I think is just over.
You draw Pantheon, you slam it down. Spell Shield, Tough, Deep.
Deep is not one you can get, but go on.
If it got deep, then we would win the game.
Sure.
That's,
you know what?
That's really the only
Pantheon generating deep is just as likely as that card being a 6/7 after.
After the shady character.
Yeah, after the shady character. So it's all on the table at this point in my mind.
Yeah, why not?
Well,
and here's Vygar. Okay.
A good friend. Oh, okay. And, gotta give props where props are due here. Zach TCG having the fully blinged out, fully skinned out Vygar Darkness deck. So you love to see it. You absolutely love to see it.
Absolutely. I have 2 fully blinged out, fully skinned out Darkness decks. One for me, one for my Smurf. Gotta treat myself right.
Gotta treat yourself right. Do you have that in your Tinder profile, just looking for someone to play my fully blinged out Darkness deck on my Smurf?
I just want to play Darkness Mirrors while we're both fully blinged out.
I think you should put that in. I think it'll work.
I think, Blev, it'll be better than whatever it is I've been doing.
Well, Zach TCG is doing something right as we have the leveled up Vygar, Grand Overseer Vygar. And, Darkness only at 4, but that's okay because, well, I don't think BNT is going to be long for this world for very much longer.
No, it's just going to be the darkness here. Going to go ahead and get another one at the round start thanks to the leveled up Vigar. Throw it at it with the leveled up, or not leveled Senna, but the a barrier. If only that did anything. There are so many pings in the hand of Zach.
Yeah,
that it just
if there
doesn't
was 2 more barriers, would still get there.
Yeah. Oh, this is just a complete dismantling of the Pantheon deck, which does seem like the weak point of the lineup. I know that a lot of players, I think originally they weren't playing Pantheon, they were playing Sivir Akshan. They put in Pantheon because it has good matchups into the other Demacia decks. When you run into a lineup like this Darkness, Lee Sin, and Bandletree, it looks like the Pantheon can be a little bit of a liability, and BNT just playing last week's meta.
Yeah. Yep. Playing last week's meta, and I mean, I'm heavily biased, but Darkness, a deck I have openly been a fan of for many seasons at this point. This is going to be 10 to the dome. We're going to be getting another Darkness, which will be at 6. That can go upstairs. Open attack will generate another Darkness, which can still go to the face. So this is going to be over in favor of Zach TCG, taking it down 2-0 in a matchup that I was pretty convinced, at least, the Demacia lineup was going to be heavily favored into.
I think if we had seen BNT on Scouts, that would have picked up a win for sure. But apparently the Pantheon, and this is one of the reasons that players are still... When you run triple Demacia, everybody brings the Fae deck. They all bring the Tristana deck. And then it's kind of a toss-up between Sivir Akshan Scouts and this Pantheon Yuumi. As you pick 2 of those, that rounds out your lineup. And players just have been completely unable to come to a consensus on what are the 3 best decks for that lineup.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. I mean, it did not work out there for BNT, as, of course, Zach TCG able to take it down with Bandletree and Darkness here. But we'll have to see if Zach TCG is able to do that well against What Am I, who is definitely running a little bit of a different lineup than what the BNT brought.
I gotta say, though, I like Zach's lineup into What Am I's. You've got the Bandletree, which is going to beat these control decks pretty much hands down. Probably might even have to be the ban from What Am I. And then Darkness, one of the most famous Lee Sin counters. Yeah. I think Zach's got a good shot. It might come down to a Lee Sin mirror, in which case I would definitely give it to What Am I, though. But we shall see.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely we're gonna see it play out. Doesn't matter what we say, Boulevard. We're gonna see it play out, but we're gonna take a quick break before that. Don't go anywhere. You're gonna want to see these losers bracket finals when we return. Welcome back to Giant Slayer's Fight Night Legends, brought to you by Wisdom. I am Blevins, joined by the one and only Boulevard, and we are jumping in to the losers bracket finals. Boulevard, let's take a look at that bracket before we get into the game.
Yeah, as you can see, we've got Floppy Mudkip waiting in the grand finals for either What Am I or Zach TCG to come in from the losers bracket to challenge them for the Fight Night title. If Floppy wins, as we've mentioned before, will be the first 5-time champion in Fight Night history. Might get a bracket reset, might not. What I do know for a fact, Blevins, is we are in for the longest series of the night in What Am I versus Zach TCG.
I was thinking while we were on break, like not asking the question of whether or not this is going to be a good set, but instead whether or not this set is going to end before midnight Eastern time.
Yeah, I was going to text my friends like, hey, this is going a lot faster than I thought, but then I'm like, okay, well, if I say that, then there's definitely a bracket reset. On top of the fact that, like, What Am I and Zach are about to play a control mirror.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean, sometimes these matchups, these control matches, like, they seem on paper that they would go forever, but actually the game can end relatively quickly and decisively. There's more jockeying for position, but once that foothold is taken, the game can actually end very quickly. For example, Lee Sin or FTR or even Bandletree, right? Like the Bandletree game, if the Bandletree comes out, it's gonna end the game when it hits 10, right? There's no oh, well, we need to go back and forth. Nope, there's just a back and then the game ends. There's
Unfortunately, because of that, I think that's going to be What Am I's ban. Oh,
I mean, almost certainly. I think that this is a pretty the Bandletree certainly is very good into what Am I has brought here, which would leave Darkness, of course, and like you said, the Lee Sin mirror. So I mean, Lee Sin mirrors can definitely go the distance for sure. We've seen that happen before.
We've seen one guy draw Lee Sin and the other not. So maybe we get one of those games. We shall see.
Yeah. And also Darkness. Darkness also can win pretty decisively. So maybe we're not quite in for as long of a haul as we're maybe expecting on paper. Also, What Am I is such a seasoned and experienced player that even in these like intricate control matchups, he has the line down pretty quickly and decisively one way or the other.
I don't know.
A lot of the time, at least.
I don't know if I've ever seen a rope appear on What Am I's screen, now that I think about it.
Well, it's because he has such a good understanding of the macro of the game that the micro decisions are important, but a lot of times it's just doing math. And someone like What Am I is quite good at doing math, as it turns out, with all of the success he's had in Legends of Runeterra. Not to say anything against Zach TCG, just not as familiar with him and what he has done. But, I mean, we're seeing here put up a pretty decisive 2-0 versus BNT in a matchup that, theoretically was unfavored for him. Maybe just a wrong call there on my end, but it certainly seemed that way.
I got to say, though, if Zach TCG can take down What Am I and then turn around and double knock out Floppy Mudkip in the grand finals, that would probably be the biggest upset in Fight Night history. Coming in, taking out last week's champion, and then knocking Mudkip off of his 4-week streak, that would be insanity.
That would definitely be insanity. And we were talking about a Cinderella story brewing here. The question, of course, for Zach TCG is, does the shoe fit? Is it after midnight? Did you have to flee the ball? Did the prince find you and bring you that shoe? We shall see. But first, gonna have to take down What Am I to even get a shot at the king himself, Floppy Mudkip.
I gotta say, I really like Trixie Tentacles off of Conchologist.
Do you?
Just in general, because I like to grind my opponent down. I like to run them out of cards, and if I get to go, oh, by the way, just discard a card. I love discard a card.
Yeah, here's the thing, Boulevard. You yourself said you don't like to play decks that have fewer than 10 cards in hand, and I think you're not in the minority there.
That's true.
So yes, discard one of the 10 cards in your hand.
I would
that is
never
likely
main
generated
deck it.
from something.
Let me say that real quick. I would never main deck it.
Yeah.
I don't care if there's a tier 1 deck with 3 Trixie Tentacles in the main a year from now. I will not be running it.
All right. You heard it here. Clip it. If we see it happen, we'll call you out. And
Clip it,
you'll have...
see me on ladder, lose to my Trixie Tentacles, send me this clip. L plus ratio.
Good times. Although I don't think you can say that on Twitch. You're gonna get.
Oh, is that
banned.
true? Oh man, I haven't been on Twitch enough.
I don't think that is an obscure reference to Twitch streamer drama that happened a couple of weeks ago.
Gotcha.
But, either way, of course, involving my brother and good friend Ninja. We are here.
We're blowing through this game. We're already on turn 5. We haven't even said anything about the game yet.
Well, you know, that's the beauty of Fight Night. Nothing ever happens in those first few turns. So.
What is this Zoe at? 1 out of 10? 2 out of 10, maybe?
It's at least 1 because we saw Twin Disciplines.
I think it's Twin and the super cool star chart. Now 3 out of 10. Oh, look at us. Right on the money.
Wow. Lee Sin, the 3rd card you've cast, or I guess technically the 4th card you've cast all game. All right. Good old, not old, I guess, good new Wallop. Just such a strong card. Yeah, deceptively strong, too.
No counter spells in What Am I's hand up against Double Vengeance Wallop Mini-Morph.
Oh, here we go. Gonna try to kill the Zoe.
Yeah, now down to just 1 Twin Discipline left for What Am I as well.
Mm-hmm.
A very important offensive tool. Maybe not in this matchup as much, but I mean, if my Lee Sin gets mini-morphed, then Twin Discipline is the best tool for me to try to still sneak through a lethal with just the kick.
True. Down to 4 mana, we could just rip a Vengeance on a Lee Sin, potentially. But What Am I doing a pretty good job of diversifying these threats here. Obviously, not wanting to put all of his eggs into the Lee Sin basket, says the Zoe basket is perfectly fine at holding eggs as well. And we saw this in an earlier match where I think it was What Am I, or maybe it was Floppy. One of the two were, doing a really good job of diversifying the threats, not putting everything, not putting everything into one unit, so that if there was a Vengeance or something else, you at least are still putting on some sort of threat. Because, winning with the Lee Sin, when you have the spells, you have the overwhelm and the combo, that's easy to do, right? It's right. The intricacy comes in the games that you can't find Lee Sin, or that your opponent is able to deal with the Lee Sin. And versus a mini morph and Vengeance deck, your first Lee Sin's not likely to survive.
No. I would like to see Zach proactively use one of these Vengeances. Just test the waters for the deny.
Yeah.
You've got the mana to do it. There's really nothing else that you need to get down this turn.
Right. We may see. Okay, not gonna see it here. Don't need to fire it off in that action necessarily. Though I think you probably don't want to use it now. All right, we're now much more likely to have the deny, but What Am I does not have it. Let's take a look. Okay, I of course don't have What Am I's lists up anymore.
Yep, gonna be a pass out of Zach. Darkness still at just 2 damage, not enough to try and take out the Zoe. Both players at 10 cards in hand? Or What Am I only at 9? 1 off of the level up on the Lee Sin. I think still 3 or 4 off of the Zoe? Maybe 3?
Push on to Senna. That is going to level up the Lee at burst speed.
Going to take Darkness off the table for the remainder of combat.
Oh, very true, very true. Okay, this is just gonna be a wallop here. What Am I's deck has 0 Nopifies, so Wallop into Deny, I think, is a perfectly reasonable trade that Zach TCG would take, especially considering that over the top of that, a Vengeance could come. I don't mind testing those waters.
Yeah, you do still need to deal with this Zoe before she levels as well.
True.
That's really not something you want to let slip through the cracks, but, I mean, Vengeancing a 1-drop is always going to feel bad. So we're going to test the waters with the Deny. That's going to go through.
Yeah.
Unless What Am I wants to roll the dice on Guiding Touching into a Deny.
I mean, it's kind of a free roll, unless you really want to develop one of these Eyes of the Dragon. But even so,
You could
I'd
still
still rather
double
draw
eye
a
and
Deny.
to have two spell mana going into the next turn if you want.
yeah. Yeah. Yep. Vengeance goes through. What am I not able to find? One of the 3 denies in the deck.
And now Zach has a very good idea that there are just no denies in hand.
Be very weird for What Am I to have one and not cast it there.
Now, I'm curious to see how Zach plays their attack turn, because I think you almost might just need to open the turn with Mini Morph onto Zoe.
Did we see what Zoe is at?
She's at
8.
Yeah, here
Oh,
comes-
and the Moonsilver's
oh!
gonna level her now! Oh no!
Oh!
Oh boy.
Yeah, this was not something you wanted to let happen, and now you don't even
Oh,
really want
boy.
to kill the Zoe because there's a second copy in hand that'll give elusive to the
No.
entire board.
Not really a reason to kill the Zoe. Your bed is now made. That is the beauty and the horror of leveled up Zoe, is that once that bed is made, you cannot unmake it.
Remember when we thought that maybe these would be quick games, maybe someone would get blown out of the water? Oh, how young and naive we were 15 minutes ago, Blevins.
I mean, this game hasn't been going on too long yet. It's only turn 9. I mean, I don't think we're anywhere near the end of this game. So, yeah, I think, yeah. Well, I mean, if the Zoe continues to hit, you know, we can get some big Celestials out potentially quite quickly.
It wouldn't be a What Am I game if we didn't, and like, What Am I can't win Fight Night without casting at least one Great Beyond, right? I mean, like, I know he did it last week, but like, surely he's not going to do it twice.
Right. I was trying to think if there was a way with like Telescope, but I don't even think What Am I was playing a Telescope deck, so you can't like if he, you know, telescopes into something, which then gets you something to get a Great Beyond. That would have been hilarious, but I don't think he even ran that opportunity.
So I mean, this game, based on the current state, I would say, as long as Zach can find a Vigar in a timely fashion, should be able to close it out pretty quickly after immediately doing that. There's no Sonic Wave, there's no Lee Sin. I think the Vigar will probably be leveled by the time it comes out. That's actually hard to say. You would need to cast 6 Darkness as the damage on it still hasn't been amplified, and there's a Sleepy Trouble bubble in hand.
Unlikely that Vigar is leveled here.
You do have the Transposition. It's maybe it slips through the Sleepy Trouble bubble, and you get to keep it down for the turn.
Yeah, that is true. We're also on What Am I, you know, drawing a Deny at some point here, right? There have been 0 played or seen here. And 3 in the deck.
What Am I think about to go back up to 20 pretty soon, though. Yeah, it's gonna be a while. Strap in, folks.
Yeah.
Got another... I would bet at least another 5 turns ahead of us.
I would say at least. Although giving Fury and Fated to everything is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Zoe now a Wounded White Flame with Overwhelm, Lifesteal, and Elusive. Let's just give everything elusive. Sure.
Yeah. Still a lot of defensive tools in the hand of Zach, though. You know, not necessarily dead just because there's a leveled Zoe and a bunch of stuff on board. Can actually clear out this board over the course of a couple of turns. I don't think What Am I's really putting on too much pressure right now. The Ishtali Sentinel also gets to regain a little bit of life turn after turn. But really, this Senna is just doing a lot of work here, reducing the cost of things like Wallop and Vengeance.
Wait, what does reduce the cost of wall? Oh, because it
deals
does one damage.
Yeah.
That is a joke, and I find that joke funny. All right, just gonna push 7 here, and the biggest interesting going to for a Senna transposition
to get back a darkness this turn. You could just play the Ishtali. It's at 2 mana. It's actually at 1 mana thanks to Senna.
Yeah, I definitely don't like transpositioning there.
Looks like we are getting a response. I believe that's a Pale Cascade. Okay, gonna push a little bit more damage. Oh, picks up a deny.
Oh, okay. Does that change the calculus? No. Does this change the calculus? I almost, with mini morph mana still up, yeah, I almost like cashing into deny for a Behold the Infinite, but it is a value play, but it's such a low value play. Taking that there is just not enough to put you back at like card parity, where there's just so much stuff on the side of Zach TCG here. Although I guess card for card, they're roughly at the same card economy.
Okay. Palm denying the Senna, generating another darkness. Don't hate that. This actually will kill Zoe, even if What Am I... I mean, not that it matters. We do have a second Zoe in hand. Of course, we'll not have the Faded and the Fury and the Lifesteal that this Zoe does.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll probably get the Lifesteal back next turn. Okay, Vengeance. That's got to be the deny.
Yeah, I think so. Especially, won't kill Senna, but can kill, I guess, a 3/4. Not the worst.
Unfortunately for What Am I, no way to actually burst,
not even
get the Lee Sin into combat, so you have to Zenith Blade it first just for it to get mini morphed.
Yeah, but we drew another deny.
Oh, is this going to be the Senna? There's no mana for mini morph if you do this.
Oh, did we just lose the game?
I think we might have Blevins.
Stop the kick.
But it still has
I don't think that's enough.
And there's so many elusive units.
Wow!
And you can still play Zoe. Yeah, I think that's just going to do it.
That was defeat ripped from the jaws of victory, I think.
Yeah, and you can see Zach not happy with that line of play.
Yeah. What am I...
Like you said, transposition can stop the kick, but it doesn't matter. The overwhelming damage is still going to come through.
10, 12,
15?
13, 14, 15. Yeah, 15. Nothing can be done here. Wow. Just, sitting with 2 mini morphs in hand versus the Lee Sin deck gets a little bit too greedy and gets massively punished for it in game number 1 as What Am I taking it down with the Lee Sin deck.
Yeah, and that was supposed to be sort of the free matchup for Zach, is that darkness into that Lee Sin. That was supposed to be the easy one. So losing that, it's still doable. It is very much still doable, but you've got a much more uphill battle now. Yeah,
definitely. I think it certainly still could have gone either way, but it felt like, even if you just looked at the card economy, it was, Zach TCG was ahead on cards most of that game. The difference did get cut down a little bit, but either way, What Am I able to take it down with me? Slightly too greedy play gets punished by the second deny off the top, and we're now moving into a game number 2. Down a game is Zach TCG versus one of the best players in the world in What Am I?
So, Blevins, you are our resident expert on the matchup charts of Thresh Aesol, right? You know everything about this deck, the ins and outs. What is your winning percentage into Lee Sin?
Well, here's the first question I have to ask. Is
Sure.
What Am I playing that Thresh Aesol deck?
No one else is allowed to legally, I think. I think he is actually trademarked to this deck list.
I'm taking a firm stance as saying any matchup that has What Am I as the pilot of that deck is just 75% in his favor, just blind. Doesn't matter what the other player or deck is.
You heard it here first, folks. We've got a pretty lopsided game on our hands here.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Still lose that game. 75-25.
Yeah.
There's still, 1 out of every 4 of those games you are going to lose.
Man, I haven't seen someone invoke in I don't know how long.
Yeah. It used to be so commonplace. Now, well, I mean, we see that animation a lot. It's just with Conchologist or a Loping Telescope, not actually invoke.
I need to just pull up What Am I's deck list. I'm like looking at this hand. I keep getting lost every time I look back up.
Yeah. There's so much here. Let's see. We've got the classic 3 star shapings, 2 Aesol, 3 Thresh. We've got 1 Ruination, 1 Atrocity, 1 Sunburst.
1 Guiding Touch, 1 Pale Cascade. Just really splitting the difference there.
What Am I is a master of having precise numbers of cards in the decks. He's a big fan of not necessarily just jamming 3/3 of the champions, as we see evidenced in is it all 3 of the decks? No, Zoe Lee still wants 3/3, but Thresh Aesol is 3/2 and Trundle Tryndamere is 3/2 with no additional champion to fill it in, just running 5 champs.
Oh wow. I know, it's actually a little surprising to me, just given that, like, Feel the Mina is usually a 3-2-1 on Trundle, Tryndamere, Sejuani. You figure the same logic could apply to Feel the Rush, but there's enough expensive cards in the deck. You don't need a Sejuani.
Yeah, you can usually flex it with something else.
Blinded Mystic onto the Wounded White Flame. You hate to see it if you are the Lee Sin player, but it does pave the way for Lee Sin to come down rather safely on turn 4. But not wanting to throw it down until after combat has happened. Of course, you don't want Thresh to just push damage onto that and then let it get finished off by something. But things looking... Well, I want to say they're looking pretty good for What Am I. But, Zach can get down an Eye of the Dragon this turn as well as activate it. Get down the Lee Sin next turn, has the Deny backup.
Very true, very true. Looks like... Going to open... Okay, gonna play the Lee Sin. This is a spot that myself playing Lee Sin, I generally shy away from. Lee Sin with no mana backed up. Now, we're going to be going into 2, 4, 6 mana, which means we'll have Deny, but the thing is we need to activate the Lee Sin to get anything going.
Yeah, and you're not killing the Thresh here. Not with just this little amount of mana.
Not with 2 mana, yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, there are a lot of cards you can play right here. I don't think Wounded White Flame is one of them.
Right.
A little bit scary on the hover there. Going to take the Moon Silver.
Okay, Moon Silver potentially opens things up, as now we can maybe sneak in the Deny at 3 mana. Pre-nerfed Deny.
It looks like that Deny is going to have to get used right here as What Am I is really looking at this Sunburst off of the Burst Pass.
Skarzik says, I'm so glad Feel the Mina stuck and not Feel the Feet.
Shout out, of course, to, who was it, Pastry Time and Freak, I think, who told them to call it that? Which one of you jokesters over at Wisdom was like, oh, this is the footsie deck?
I mean, I really wish I could take credit for that, but it was not me, is all I can say. I mean, I really do wish I could take credit, but I will not take credit for the joke I did not write.
It's all right. You've got the Betty Croker legacy.
That is true. I do have Betty Croker, and while TLC is not personally my creation, it was probably me or Casa who said it. It was actually our old director Joseph who came up with that name. So and that has stuck around like forever. Everyone calls it or called it TLC forever.
Yep. Just gonna pass with the Lee Sin, unwilling to give it barrier. Of course, it's not leveled yet, so it's not gonna kick anything. You don't want to just run it into a Thresh. And just gonna see. This is what I wanted Zach to do last game. Is just test removal spells on the champions into the deny, because you have so many on backup still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here's the thing now. We have a Serpent here to pull the Lee. We could push... I guess pushing damage doesn't really do anything here. For some reason, I thought we pushed more damage last turn, but we actually didn't. We just got a lot of favorable trades.
Gonna take the burst pass. What am I? Gonna pass right back and say, I'm not attacking into this Lee Sin with barrier. Do you want to play anything else? And Zach says, no, I'd like to go into the next turn with a 3-mana Deep Meditation.
Yeah. Reduced cost, Deep Meditation, Wounded White Flame is still coming down. We do have the possibility Deep Med into Deny if needed. What am I trying to get? I'm going to try to get as much mana out of Zach here as possible before firing off his Vengeance. Or maybe even the Ruination. No, I doubt it. But maybe. I doubt it.
I doubt it.
But possibly.
But, yeah, just, oh, my Thresh is at 5 out of 6? I don't care about that. I don't need that. See, another pass from Zach. Still,
yeah.
I mean, the Lee Sin still isn't leveled, so you're still not kicking anything.
Yeah. Okay, I think one of my stream is a little bit delayed here because I'm like, what is going on? Either delayed or perhaps in the future.
Ahead?
I can't tell.
Looks like it's in the future.
Or Zach's stream is
I think Zach's is frozen because those Nexus bubbles are not moving.
Yeah. So we might need to jump over to the other perspective here.
Let me sit up just in case the camera comes up on
a
us.
Second.
I don't need everyone to see the weird way that I sit.
All right. Well, we are stuck here for a second. We will... There we go. We're working on getting this game caught back up in just a second. Yeah, Boulevard and I are like down here the whole time. Mostly.
Yeah, I'm like down here. I got like one leg up. I'm like, this is comfortable. This is comfy, baby.
I'm over here just like using these hand grippers here just in case, you know, I'm playing FTR in the desert and I need to bring out that last drip of water. Why that is the metaphor I went for, don't know. I can't predict what I'm going to say. If I could, maybe I'd be in a lot better position, but I'd certainly get into a lot less trouble. But we are going to be getting back into this game right now. Here we go. All right. All said and done. Oh, gets the deny off of the
deep meditation.
But what am I? Drew another vengeance.
Oh, and this is gonna. I think this is just lethal. The Thresh is leveled.
Oh,
the A-Soul is gonna come out.
Oh, it sure is. Yeah, we're going to see. Let's see. Pull 3, 5, 6 plus 10. That's 16.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember Zach's hand now to see if there's a way to pop the spell shield and stun the Aurelion Soul, but there's still an atrocity.
Oh yeah, and the atrocity did not even factor that in. Yeah, I think that there's a concussive palm in hand if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
but
currently looking at exact lethal. So the palm actually will be enough because you can stop the mountain goat and you still live. But you know, I imagine what am I having already seen 2 denies, seeing the last one played off the deep meditation, would be willing to just rip off the atrocity.
Right, it would be unlikely. But is there? Let's see. Are there like Will of Ionias or something in Zach's list?
No.
There is one Will of Ionia.
I
in
say
Zach's
as
list.
right after I closed his deck list, I was like, ah. I opened it, looked at the number of deny, and closed it again.
Yeah, one Will of Ionia.
Okay.
Zach,
She doesn't
concession. Does not have it. Cinderella story has ended. Cinderella didn't, the woodland creatures and mice and whatnot that just weren't able to help Cinderella out of the evil stepmother's closet or whatever. I don't remember that story very well. Not able to show up. The prince does not find Zach TCG, and what am I? Thwarts that, but a different storyline does arise. Multiple, in fact. We've got a rematch of the grand finals from last week now. What am I versus Floppy Mudkip? We've got a rematch of the winners finals from earlier today. And we've got potentially history in the making here if Floppy Mudkip is able to take this down.
I'm still like lost on your Cinderella analogy, but what I did want to say is that
it's a Cinderella story. Get it? Cinderella. The shoe. Does the shoe fit? You come back. She goes, I don't know. I don't remember that story. That's
Zach
the right one, right? Yeah.
Was a long shot. Found himself in the middle of a historical tornado in this Floppy Mudkip reign of dominance. What am I? Just completely taken names since the seasonal, just winning tournament after tournament after tournament, looking to do it again here. We'll have to get the bracket reset to get it done, but I mean, it wouldn't be fun if the underdog won every time. There is a reason that they are the underdog. It is still a long shot. So this was sort of the expected outcome. Even if you just look at the bracket from tonight, I think a lot of people were kind of expecting a rematch of last week's finals, and that's exactly what we got.
Yeah, well, if you were waiting for it, you said it right, Boulevard. That is exactly what we've got, and we've got it for you right after a short break. Don't go anywhere. We've got the grand finals coming up next. Welcome back, Giant Slayers Fight Night Legends. I'm still Blevins. That is still Boulevard, and we have made it to the tippy top of the mountain. Boulevard. We're into the grand finals.
Yes, we are. As we had mentioned time and time again, Floppy Mudkip versus What Am I? Rivalry in the making. Because Beast Llama just kind of fell out of Fight Night. I was so excited for the Beast Llama Floppy line to continue, and then Beast Llama just stopped showing up to Fight Night.
When he
just
wants
pushed
back
pause.
in, he can come back in.
He
back,
pushed
buddy.
pause,
We want
and he
you.
was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait Floppy out. And Floppy said, you can't wait me out. But I'm going to be waiting for you when you get back.
You can't wait me out. Floppy said, all right. And we never saw Beast Llama again. Floppy just kept winning. Or maybe Beast Llama knew Echo Zillion was gone and is now going into the hyperbolic time chamber to practice a new deck.
Yeah, everyone else like saw Beast Llama winning with Zillion Echo, and they're like, oh, I can do that. And it's just, tonight was not the night for Zillion Echo. Maybe next week, maybe when Beast Llama returns, but not tonight.
Yeah, definitely. But we'll have to see. We will have to wait and see. Maybe Beast Llama said, yeah, there's no way I'm getting 3 with this deck, so I gotta go.
That was a good run.
I'm gonna bank
I
this
hear my
invite
mom
for
calling.
later. My mom's calling me. But this night is not about Beast Llama Boulevard. It is about What Am I and Floppy Mudkip. Notably, you know, if you're just tuning in now, we've been talking about it the whole time. We see it here. Floppy Mudkip on the top side of the bracket. So if Floppy Mudkip wins any best of 3, it is over. What Am I needs to win a best of 3 and then win an additional best of 3 after the bracket reset. So a tall feat for anyone, but certainly one that What Am I is capable of doing. Of course, the first storyline is this is a rematch of last week's grand finals. It's also a rematch of the winners finals. This is also, I think we said either Floppy's either 4th or 5th invite back to Fight Night in a row. And also, if Floppy Mudkip wins, he will stand alone atop all of the Fight Night players as the most winningest Fight Night player, period. Regardless of region, regardless of anything, it will be his 5th win in Fight Night. Unprecedented at this point.
You know, that might even extend to Fight Nights, period. Team Fight Tactics, Wild Rift, Legends of Runeterra. 5 wins might just be the most out of any Fight Night out of any game.
It's definitely for Wild Rift, considering that is more than there have been Fight Night Rift so far. So certainly there. TFT, I have not kept up with who has won TFTs in a while, though I do know that Faye had a lot in the early days. But I don't know. We shall see. Well, actually, we probably won't see. I don't have the stats on the other games, but we will see if Floppy Mudkip is. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk like we've got someone that's going to look this up after we say it. We don't. We say the stat, we say maybe, and we forget about it.
I probably could get someone that has that info, but
if I had to think about who it is, like anytime we talk about like records or anything historical, I'm like, who could look that up? I'm like, oh, it's me, isn't it? I'd be the one to look that up.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm gonna be like, all right, you know what? I'll find someone, and then you just get a message from me immediately. Hey, Boulevard. All right, here we go. We've got Floppy on the Pantheon deck. Let's take this. I don't believe we saw this deck from Floppy before. This is okay. This is also Yuumi Pantheon. So 3x Yuumi. I guess this is just a concession to Yuumi is a very strong piece to this puzzle. Maybe perhaps into the control matchups where, you know, you just want to have a threat. You want to have the ability to, you know, have a threat that continues to grow, and you don't need to necessarily put a bunch of resources into, and you definitely want to draw the Yuumi. It's interesting.
Yeah, don't mind it. Okay, we do go for the Pale Cascade. Going to try to push as much damage as possible this turn and really start to progress the Pantheon level up.
Yep.
Try and roll that Spell Shield, slip it through the cracks here on What Am I? And actually just doesn't attack.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the thing. What Am I wanted the attack to come through and then to gain the 3 life back, right?
Right.
You know, you want to get the full value. Here's the thing. by passing, you gained more than 3 life, so I guess it's okay. What am I, doing the mind tricks and Floppy, I guess obliging. Yeah. I don't think either player's necessarily...
It does mean that there is no Trundle to block this turn. We just get an open attack out of Floppy if that's what he wants to go for.
Yeah, looks like it is. It's going to be 8 coming through. Not really compelled to do much here. Gonna go for a Piercing Darkness that can be countered pretty easily by one of 3 Sharp Sights.
Yeah, and with Floppy doing the Pale Cascade on turn 3 and then not attacking, I think is just going to do everything in his power to continue to progress the Pantheon level. So more than happy to go ahead and let that Sharp Sight come through, save the unit, get another resource out of What Am I later, and continue towards this level up.
Yeah, I wonder if this is this just playing into exactly what Floppy wants here.
That's a good question. I mean, Ruination's online. If we see anything get played this turn, that probably gets ripped off.
Yeah, I think so. Ruination come out, but then we could have Panth. What are we at in terms of Pantheon level is the question.
I think 2? 3?
Okay.
Oh, 4? Must have missed one.
Which means Sharp Sight, open attack is open.
Yeah.
Could also just jam Yuumi. Looks like another Pantheon was drawn. It's going to be Pantheon Yuumi. I mean, we saw this, I think, originally. Then we saw it go out of favor. But now, Pantheon Yuumi is sort of the, pre-con, if you will.
Oh.
Scout, Spell Shield, Regeneration, Impact. Does it get much better than this? Yes. You can see What Am I just says, yeah, I guess I die.
What Am I is at home right now. Like, this is why I don't win tournaments, Boulevard. Do you see this? You're here front and center. Do you see this shit?
Withering Wail to stop the spell shield.
Yeah.
We can and probably have to
flash freeze.
We don't freeze here.
I was trying to figure out. I was trying to figure out if we even have lethal through flash freeze because of like Sharp Sight, like Hush double Sharp Sight.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
Would be 5, 6, 7 now, 8, 9 if we had the other Sharp Sight.
Yeah. But it is a lot of resources and mana out of What Am I, who does not have a follow-up way to actually kill this Pantheon, and now doesn't have the mana to play Field of Rush this turn.
Oh, and it also, here's the thing, on attack, Yuumi is leveling up on this next attack.
Really?
So I guess it does.
Oh, yeah,
because we did Scout. 2 attack. We had Scout.
And that gives you... I've actually literally never seen a Yuumi level up.
It gives Spell Shield. I don't know if it grants Spell Shield at beginning of turn. I think Yuumi, leveled up Yuumi has Spell Shield herself, so it will...
read this kind card, of like, or just watch it happen in real time. All right, well, that animation goes off. Round start, grant the attached unit. +1/+1. Wait, is that?
But does she also have... Yeah, she also has Spell Shield, so it's like Rumble. It's like leveled up Rumble.
The Mobilytics website just has front side Yuumi listed twice.
Pretty accurate, but either way, we saw a pretty...
When I level up or round start, okay.
Yeah. Oh, it also says when I level up. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty good. Pretty powerful start from Floppy Mudkip there, taking down pretty decisive game number 1. Not really much of What Am I could have done differently there, I don't think. I think
Floppy played for the Pantheon high roll and was rewarded. And that's kind of where it starts and ends.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You play the cards for a reason. And that right there, folks, is the reason.
I think this is actually, the first time in a long time that I have seen someone lose to someone and then switch up the ban strategy the next time they played. Because in the winners finals, What Am I banned the Pantheon Yuumi and left up the Narsejwani.
You're absolutely right, and I was thinking the same thing because I asked we asked Beastlama a couple of weeks ago about that, whether whether losing or winning, maybe you know, if they played against the same person, if they would change up the ban strategy, or maybe it was Floppy. I don't recall who. No, it was Floppy actually. And he said he just knew the matchup tables enough. He knew that he was making the correct decision, and if he made the correct decision enough times, it would end up paying off. So it is definitely interesting to see a different ban strategy come out, but it also is, you know, What Am I is not necessarily playing tried and true lineups. This is a lot of experimentation. So this is also, you know, while it's a competitive event and obviously there's money on the line, it is still a learning experience for What Am I as well.
Yeah, I think What Am I has played this specific lineup enough that he knows the bans kind of in and out, but Floppy is not on a normal lineup either, right?
Right.
You've got a couple, like, Pantheon Yuumi is sort of the only deck that we're seeing en masse. This is the first Scion Draven we've seen in a long time. This is the first Nar Sejuani that What Am I might have played against in a fight night or even in this format. And just,
Right.
you know, tested the waters, said, okay, that didn't feel great. Those Ancient Yetis are a bit of a problem for a controlled lineup, so let me get it out of here.
I mean, Ancient Yetis, you know, this is an old swim tech from, I think it was actually, I don't remember if it was FTR or TLC or what deck it was in, but was running the Ancient Yetis as Ruination tech. Where it's like, okay, I'm going to
think
develop...
it was his original FTR list, because
Yeah,
I think so. So, gonna stick a buy. But there's
Yep.
Ruination mana.
there is Ruination mana, which really does make you think. So, hey, I'm going to play a very low... a high impact but low cost unit in terms of resources in general. Whereas, you know, you're just going to be getting your lost soul back. That's fine. What am I, you know, going to be pretty happy with the trade regardless, you know, not taking a ton of damage here.
Yeah, Floppy missing the opportunity to axe the Fallen Rider. Oh, okay, there was a Poro Cannon in hand. I couldn't see it on the graphic, but this makes more sense now. I was going to say, you didn't want to miss your opportunity to get the Fallen Rider as opposed to the Risen
Right.
Rider. That 1 versus 2 health difference is insane. So I was trying to figure out where Floppy was going with this, but the Poro Cannon makes more sense.
Yep. There we go. Still going to be able to get in 5. And what am I, down to 13 right now? Atrocity, not really what you're looking for here. Obviously, our good friend Ledros plus Atrocity still, you know, still just as effective as it was many moons ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah, it is going to be hard to weave that in given the amount of pressure Floppy Mudkip is putting on right now. And this is...
Here comes Benny Boy.
Yeah. Little Benny Farron. There he is. That's going to be a second Ruination.
Yeah.
But that's still 10 to the face. Or
Yeah,
no,
8.
Yeah, it's 8 now.
But there's 2 Decimates in hand that you know about.
Yeah.
I think double
Yeah.
Flash Freeze is almost more likely.
Yeah,
And that still gives you the FTR on the following turn.
yeah. That doesn't seem awful. Okay, Flash. Freeze. Take 0. Bank spell mana.
Play Field of Rush. Maybe just
Are
play
you playing-
Ladros.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you playing
I'll
Field
just
Rush or
play
are you playing
Ladros.
Ledros? Yeah.
Is there any way that Floppy can kill his own Scion? Okay, gonna push 1 damage here.
Mm-hmm.
Give himself the possibility of a Mystic Shot lethal.
Yeah, I like it. Really heads up play. It's not gonna
There's a
matter.
flock!
You got a flock. Wait, does that change anything though?
So you can survival skills your Farron. Oh, you don't. I don't think you have anything to discard. I think that axe was your last discard fodder. So survival skills.
You can cast survival skills.
It's so awkward though because you want the Scion to die this turn.
Right.
Because if Scion dies, then you push through damage on the crackback.
But here's the question. There is a Draven spell in hand.
Yeah, the Whirling Death with a
Whirling-
Decimate
yeah.
should be lethal, I think.
There is a freeze.
There's no mana.
Oh, we have it. This is just it, right?
I'm 90%. Yeah, the Whirling Death is going to push 6 damage. Is this it?
A block. Whirling Death.
Do you die to Atrocity with lethal on the stack next turn?
Oh, no.
Because What Am I still has the attack token.
Oh, you're right. Wait, we do... Oh, no, we can't do it there. Okay.
6, go to
Go to
5.
5. Oh, no, we have the Mystic Shot.
Yeah, but which you have to do when What Am I attack. Oh, no, that's right. What Am I doesn't have the attack token next turn. He's going to have to... You're going to get to attack. Yeah, I think Floppy's got this.
Wow. Yeah, because we go Decimate.
Man, I haven't gotten confused by rallies in a minute. I am rusty.
Oh, wait, hold... Yeah, this is...
Oh, there's 2 Vile Feast? Ugh. I guess he just cast Decimate. Here comes Atrocity. Only mana for 1 Vial.
Atrocity.
And Mystic does
Mystic
it.
Shot. Yeah,
Yeah,
Vial
Mystic
doesn't
Shot
do-
does it.
Yeah. Wait, no.
He's only got 3 mana.
We only have 3 mana.
He's only
That's
got
it.
3. Floppy did it!
Floppy, in one of the weirdest games of that matchup we've ever seen, takes a lightning fast 2-0 versus What Am I in the grand finals and is the most winningest player in Fight Night, period. Number 5, Floppy Mudkip, sits atop the mountain alone in an absolutely stunning performance tonight.
Yeah, he said during his player interview for the top 32 of the previous season that he felt like people didn't really consider him one of the best of the world, and he was looking to change that. And over the last couple of months, he has really put in the work, and he is reaping the benefits as the most winningest Fight Night player of all time. Any region, any game, doesn't matter. Floppy's the GOAT right now.
Yeah, absolutely stunning performance. It was crazy. A couple of weeks ago, when he won his 4th, maybe it was his 3rd. I think he won his 4th at that point. He asked us, "Hey, do you know how many I've won?" And we go, "I don't know. Why are you asking?"
You should have been keeping track.
No reason. Oh, no reason. And then just comes back, doesn't get the win last week, but gets the invite back, and then takes it down here. And oh, by the way, still invited back to next week's Fight Night, as well as What Am I. So, don't worry about that. That matchup is still cooking for next week, potentially. But we have Floppy Mudkip as our champion tonight and the winningest Fight Night player, period. And we've got him here for a winner's interview. Floppy, can you hear us, buddy?
Yes, I can.
First off, let me congratulate you on the win tonight, as that does put you in the #1 position. No longer tied with Ultraman. Somebody call Ultraman. He's crying right now. He's in shambles. But 5 is the number. How does it feel to be the one and only with 5 Fight Night wins?
Yeah, it feels really good. It's kind of crazy achievement. I honestly can't really believe it, but yeah, definitely really happy about that.
Yeah, it is crazy. We were talking just a couple seconds ago about how, not a few weeks ago you were asking, oh, how many wins do I have? I'm curious about that. We go, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden you go on this tear, this rampage for the last, 4 or 5 weeks, putting up 1st and 2nd places, and now you're here. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah, now I need to know, what's the record for the longest streak of getting invited back?
We were talking about this earlier. I think it's Jay Tamunda at 5, but that is just my memory, and we know how good that is, Keck W. So I'm pretty sure it's Jay Tamunda, and it's like 4 or 5. So you're either there or close at the very least. So
So Floppy, I wanted to ask, at the seasonal, you had mentioned that, you felt like people weren't really considering you one of the best in the world, and obviously now you've been making waves over the last couple of months. What changed? What have you been doing differently from before the seasonal to after?
I haven't really been doing that much differently, honestly. Like, I'm playing the game, I'm, practicing, doing all that stuff. I guess the results have just been coming now.
There you go.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
Sometimes the hard work do pay off, and we absolutely love to see it. And well, you've been in more of these winners interviews than anyone else, so the question I'm going to ask. Do you have any call outs, sell outs, shout outs for anyone that you want to see or anyone that you want to shout out before we get going here, Floppy?
Yeah, I want to get Grandpa Roji in here. Last night he was helping me practice Pantheon because I'm not very experienced on this deck, and he really helped out, so I'd like to see him on here.
There we go. The Grandpa Roji call out has been made, but again, Floppy, huge congratulations. We love to see it. We love to see all the hard work paying off here at Fight Night, and hey, we'll see you again next week too. You gotta get a little bit of a buffer there in case anyone tries to make a run for your title.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, Floppy. Well, Boulevard, we're here at the end. We had a relatively pretty kind of a crazy fight night, honestly, a historic fight night for sure.
Floppy is starting to rack up as many rivalries as he is fight night victories. We had Beast Llama, that's on pause. Now What Am I and him are going to go at it for the third week in a row. Now he's calling out Grandpa Roji. Like, eventually it's just going to be Floppy versus his 7 evil exes for a fight night spectacular. We'll see how that one turns out.
Hey, you know what? Having Floppy turn the heel and become, the boogeyman of Legends of Runeterra and Fight Night, I'm in for that story arc. I mean, I love Floppy. I'd love to see the heel turn and the rivalry. But Boulevard, any last minute stuff from you? Again, thank you for coming on and filling in tonight.
Oh, absolutely. Always a pleasure to be here. Love Fight Night, love Wisdom, love working with you guys as always. But unfortunately, the shout-outs are reserved for Boulevard and Boulevard alone because it's all me up here, baby. At the end of the day, there's a reason they call me when they need something. So shout out to Boulevard and nobody else.
Hey, I mean, I did call Boulevard first, and he answered, and that's a main reason why I called him, because I knew he would. You love to see it, and we love to have you on. So, of course, shout-outs to Boulevard and no one else, except all of these other people. You, the viewer, shout-outs to you, shout-outs to production, Wisdom, and everyone at Giant Slayer. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here, and we'll be back next week with some more Fight Night Legends.